Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam. Joining me tonight, Dan, Leon, and a special guest, usually on a Friday, but Chemo, you had to jump on a bit early today. Obviously, for the people that don't know, we're going 1 hour live earlier, normally 10 p.m. UK, but jumped on a bit early to let you vent.
I appreciate it, Cam. Thanks for everybody for jumping on, and I think it's fucking necessary because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has this rage in me at the moment.
So just to explain the rage, obviously we're most likely talking about the show in Manchester on Saturday, Williams versus Smith. Why are you venting so much?
Well, there's a number of reasons, right? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why one has to be pissed off. One is a bit of a standard reason, which is something that bothers Leon, I think, almost on a daily basis, which is the Smith brothers. The other thing is, the other thing is, and I'm being quite serious here, is that, I mean, we see this quite often in boxing, and maybe we become a little desensitized to it, but there's just a gross injustice being done to a terrific young fighter who really gave a stellar performance, and a number of people didn't stand up for him, and we'll get into that, but the conclusion is that he should have had his signature win, and he didn't. And in my opinion, given the performance, given his personality as well, how fucking humble this kid is, like, people should have stood up for him because he's there to fight, and there's people there that have to protect him, and also protect him not just from injuries, but just protect him in general as a fighter, his performance, his future. You know what I mean? And I may sound a bit fucking dramatic, and maybe I'm a little bit over dramatic because I was rooting for Williams. I like the guy, you know, but it's just a really fucked up situation because, in my opinion, this was not a close fight. This was a schooling, and I thought Williams did fucking fantastic. And the Smith game plan, or sorry, I should say Gallagher game plan, was exposed once again. And yeah, it's fucking tragic in my opinion. But let's do a little bit of roundtable first before I really start letting loose. So what did you think of the overall fight, Cam? You were in the building. What was your take?
I was in the building, and a lot of what I said on Friday was completely wrong, or it was wrong for this fight. And Smith was awful, I thought. He couldn't get close, and when he did, like I said on Friday, he just kind of close up, absorb the shots, and then reset and trying to plod forward again. And he didn't really have any offense. He was trying to throw shots, but there was no weight behind him. Every time Williams threw a shot, like, it was weighty, it had force behind it. I thought his jab was excellent, man. He just kept Smith at bay throughout the fight with it, just like doubling it, tripling it, quadruple jabs. The right hand was excellent. His movement on the back foot was really good. I'm just really impressed with Williams. You know, he really stood out to me in this fight. I've seen him previously, and, you know, I've seen glimpses of a good fighter, but he's also shown me like stuff that needed improvement. But he really stepped up to the plate with this fight.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one thing I just don't understand about the Smiths, and especially Liam Smith, you know, like, he actually, in the beginning of the fight, he showed glimpses of using a jab. Like, I actually saw him, like, throw a stiff jab a couple of times. Now, I was thinking, well, this is not bad. And then all of a sudden, for 3-4 rounds, I saw no jab. You know, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I gave him one of the first two, and then not very much else after that.
I rarely scored it for him, to be honest. I don't even know how he rounds. I mean, I think there was maybe, I mean, I don't have an actual scorecard for this shit, but as far as I remember off the top of my head, there was one of the later rounds where I think it was the sixth.
There's round 9. He won that round that, you know, where you know, that the last round when the headbutt happened. He won that. He was winning that round, and that's the other one I gave him.
But there was one other round, Leon, as well, where Williams took a clear breather, And I think that was the sixth. I mean, I could be wrong. I really don't remember exactly. But
Yeah,
apart from that, I really thought whenever he was boxing, he was in control of the fight. He was landing the cleaner punches. He was landing clean jabs. He was doing the most damage, evidently. And it's like, okay, how the fuck on earth is this guy a point up when the fight gets stopped according to Box Nation and the judges?
The scorecards that they might be a bigger issue. They might, or as big an issue as the clear disqualification. That was, he was gonna get robbed, I think. Because look, let's be honest. I thought in that last round, Smith was coming back into it slightly more, and I think those last 3 rounds could have been quite tough for Williams, but he was in such a good position that he should have been able to lose those rounds and still win the fight, right?
I think
the scoring was so bad that they were going to do him on the cards. It was I felt like he was getting fucked, whatever happened after those scorecards came out.
I don't think that's. Sorry, Cam. I don't think that Smith necessarily came on that strong.
No. He came back into a fight. He was far behind him.
Well, but he was, before the cut happened on Williams, Smith was fucked up by punches. He was busted up. His eye was starting to look horrendous. He kept on getting hit clean. Yes, he started upping the pace a little bit, but the problem with Smith is that he never raises the pace to a point where I start thinking, okay, now we need to be very careful. Like he wasn't putting that much pressure, in my opinion, on Williams. Yes, Williams was slowing down a little bit. Fair enough. And he even admitted that himself afterwards. But to say that, Smith would have like fucking bombarded him with punches in the next few rounds, like Margarito style. Come on, man. It's a totally different temperament of a fighter.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you could have seen him getting robbed on the card if it had gone the 12 rounds. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Leon, by the way, I'm not directing this at you. I'm directing this at the fucking cunts that are talking about the fight in such a way.
Yeah, of course.
The Smith brothers. Yeah, who are saying like, oh, I would have stopped them the next fucking round. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
They can say that all day long. Look, this comes down to their argument is he was cut already. The only argument here is there is a headbutt that looks very, very clear. And even if it isn't on purpose, it's fucking reckless. So he's got to go. He's got to go. Like, that's a DQ straight away, as far as I'm concerned. Because he charged in head down, man. I'm sorry. That we've seen other people get disqualified for exactly that thing. That Bradley Saunders up in Newcastle, he did exactly the same thing, disqualified. And he should have been disqualified. It's it's foul play.
See, I'm a bit more mild regarding that, Leon. I don't think it's an instant DQ because, Williams, I think also, Cam pointed this out to us later, right? Williams also had a moment where he butted him in a similar movement. It wasn't as dramatic as Smith is, but it was, it wasn't too far from it. So my issue is not that you DQ the guy automatically. My issue is if it's a blatant, or let me say clear, cut that's caused by a headbutt and the fighter cannot continue, because if you want to talk about the fighter's safety, yes, his eyelid was split open and it's very dangerous to keep fighting like that. But that doesn't mean that the fighter loses a fight because he got busted up by a headbutt.
Yes.
The ref has to protect the fighter. The trainer has to stand up for the fighter and has to come in and say, like, dude, look at this shit. This is not caused by a punch. This was a blatant headbutt. Bring in a doctor. I'm not stopping the fight immediately. Here's the thing, right? When you, and I'm going to move on to Gary Lockett now quickly. If you stop the fight, if you wave the fight off, right, there's nothing that can happen in the benefit of your fighter. It's an instant technical knockout, or whatever you call it, RTD, and that's it. There's no contest. There's no decision. There's no scorecard. Everything gets thrown out the window. You have a minute to take action, to protest, to make some sort of noise, to say something about what just transpired. And he didn't fucking do that. And it wasn't even like he had a spur of the moment action, because even afterwards, he did not realize what he did. He was like, no, the fight had to be stopped. I had to stop the fight. He can't continue like this. When he was acting, I mean, I would have acted like that if that was a clear punch that fucked him up. Then I would have stopped the fight, you know? If he got hit with a beautiful, like, fucking Canelo-style uppercut, splattered his eye open, yeah, I would be like, guys, we got to stop the fight. But you just saw your fighter get headbutted, and then you're going to puss out like this and give this fucking scumbag a victory? Man, he
served him up on a plate, didn't he? He served him up on a plate. I mean, it's bad corner management. Like you said, I think he slightly panicked. He's gone through a lot of stuff, and I appreciate that. He's been involved in some horrendous incidents, but I think he panicked.
Also, Cam, sorry, man, because I interrupted you earlier. Go ahead, because otherwise I'm going to rant continuously for 30 minutes.
No, just saying, when you were speaking, those scorecards were horrendous. I think, like, they only had Williams up by 1 point at the time, I think. And in the stadium, I had Smith winning 3 rounds. When I watched it back, I only had him 2 up until the point of the stoppage. And for 3 judges to have it that close was ridiculous. And I think Leon's right. In a way, it's probably, I don't want to say good that it ended the way it did, but it'd probably be even more of an outrage if it went to points and then Smith won a blatant robbery. So at least this way,
that's what would have happened.
Yeah, but to your point, Kimo, you were saying to us yesterday as well, not only about Lockett saying, "Oh, I'm not going to let him go out like that." No, it's not responsible. But also saying, "Oh, he was tiring and this and that." It's like he was tiring a bit, but
he gave him excuses, didn't he?
Yeah, it's like, why are you giving them excuses? Don't throw your fighter under the bus. Stick.
Kimo came up with a great point. Gallagher, no one's a fan of Gallagher, but can you fucking imagine his reaction if it had been on the other side? He would have gone to war for him, wouldn't he? You know what he's like. He would have been all over that.
He would be putting letters into the
He would have been calling the doctor over, going, "That was a headbutt. Look at him and go to the cards. Go to the cards." He would have been on that straight away, wouldn't he?
Yeah, when the headbutt occurred as well, and the bell went, Lockett jumped in the ring and just had a big go at Fat Terry, for not saying anything about the headbutt, and Terry was like, no, it's all right, but I don't know.
Well, Terry's useless. I mean, he shouldn't be doing that job anymore. I mean, I hear what Kimo says, but for me, it's a DQ. All day, I've watched it numerous times over the weekend, and it doesn't get any better. It gets worse every time you watch it.
No, I agree with Kimo. I don't think it is a DQ because, he kind of did lead with it, but it wasn't one of those obvious kind of torpedo heads where you just go in with the head.
Oh, it fucking was.
No, and also, there's confusion.
It fucking was.
No, listen, there's confusion as well because the Smiths were saying that, he was cut before that. He caught him with a punch and he was bleeding. But just before that headbutt incident, Williams kind of went low, went in with his head and threw a left hook, and that was the initial cut that happened because you see him start blinking and blood come out straight away, and then Smith went in with his. So
Smith goes in and then throws a punch.
No, but,
I just think he was completely led with his head, and I thought it was a blatant DQ. And it doesn't matter for me, it doesn't matter if he cuts him or not. Because of what is the action is, the damage doesn't matter. It's the action that should have been punished for me.
But Leon, you know what the problem is as well with this? It's head positioning, right? So a lot of fighters like Smith, they put their they put the gloves against their cheekbones basically, and they bend forward, right? You see Smith do that. Scott Quick does this a lot as well. A lot of Gallagher fighters do this, when they're standing in front of their man, they basically bend forward, keep the gloves up like that, and then they start the head movement, right? And sometimes, they can go left and right, but they can also come forward when they've taken a step forward. And sometimes even when they want to throw a punch, they'll lift up the head, and you see this a lot of times. There's contact there, and sometimes it's even very light, and they'll just put their heads together like Corrales Castillo, and there's not much movement there, but their heads are almost touching, if not are touching. You know what I mean? So there is always the risk of a headbutt. And again, I do kind of agree with you that the movement that Smith made was a little, dramatic. But if that's an instant DQ, then there's a lot of other instant DQs. And Williams has been accused a little bit of being a bit of a dirty fighter as well.
I think we're being gentle on the physical movement. I think it was and looked very, very. Oh my God, Crystal Palace has scored. Arsenal Fan TV later. I think it was a very blatant headbutt. If Bradley Saunders, if we look at that Bradley Saunders one, and we can only use a British ref as our reference points, you look at that, it's the same thing, and he got disqualified. That'd be I'm sure it has happened. Who's got the background noise? I just think it was. Look, all I'm saying is, if that had been a Smith brother, if that had been on the other way round, could you imagine their fucking meltdown? They had a fucking meltdown. The cunt won.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? A fucking proper, full, spastic meltdown. It was fucking embarrassing. Watching that, it was like watching a man drown. Watching Callum Smith drown in his own fucking stupidity. It was in some sense, it was fucking glorious just to see the fucking paper thin-skinned, fucking mentally weak scumbags just fall apart over a fucking victory. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy, man, because I saw tweets where, none of the Smiths were even tagged in it, but then you can tell they were searching for the name Smith or Liam Smith or whatever, and they were replying to people saying, well, if you've never boxed, you can't say anything, and blah blah. It's what's that got to do with anything?
Oh, we'll get to that. Paul Butler fell apart at 2:00 in the morning. He fell apart mentally. It took about 4 of us. He just crumbled. Just started blocking people. He was shot to bits. That's what I was saying. Professional fighters, they can fight, but they should not get involved in this shit online because it's they're out of their depth.
Leon, I just want to jump quickly back to the point you made about standing up for your fighter and the way Gallagher would have done it. This was the baffling thing for me, right? And Cam, I didn't see much protest from Lockett the way you saw it with against Terry O'Connor. I didn't quite see that actually. And even if he did, again, that doesn't mean that that's where it ends. We see trainers go fucking bonkers over a fucking decision. Again, we have to bring up Gallagher. This guy still believes that Scott Quigg had a close fight with Carl Frampton,
Chemo, Eddie Hearn and him reported a judge for scoring the Linares fight 9-3, the first one. They reported him to the governing board saying this guy shouldn't be doing his job in a fight that clear.
Exactly.
They would have gone fucking nuclear over this. Absolute. Liverpool would have been set on fire. Liverpool would have been in a light, burnt to the ground, ashes gone. There'd be no town left.
Say what you want, Leon. We always make fun of the guy about, that he shags dogs and all this shit. But say what you want, but he stands up for his goddamn fighters. That's something I can never, ever say about him. He backs his guys 100 fucking % till the end. He will stand behind them.
He's pig-headed and deluded, which is a fucking two very useful things in a trainer.
That's true, Kimo.
Because he's never going to fucking believe his fighter lost, and they shouldn't.
I think it's more of he's backing himself, though, because obviously if his fighter loses, he's taking the L as well, so he's probably more hurt and making a fuss about it because it's affected him as well, more than his fighter. He probably don't give a fuck about his fighters.
But regardless if that's just deluded competitive spirit or whether he's backing his fighter or not, I feel like, as a trainer, you, and especially a guy like Williams, man, like the whole thing just made it worse for me when I saw his post-fight interview, man. I mean, the guy's just super nice. I was like, fuck, dude, come on, man. Like, he was just like, oh, I give credit to Smith, and I try my best, and, no excuses. He didn't even mention it. He was even hesitant when the question was posed about, did you think it was a headbutt? He was like, yeah, I think it was. And then Smith straight away was no, mate, it was a punch. Yeah. The headbutt came afterwards.
No, that's true.
And he was like,
you're right, Kimo.
Yeah. He wasn't even like responding to that, man. He's just too nice, man.
Yeah, true. You're right. He was he even said himself, I was tiring a bit, and like Liam was coming back a bit at me, but I just think he just didn't want to come off like a sore loser, which it works for you and it works against you as well. Because in this instance, I think he should have kind of rattled the cage a bit and made more fuss and stamped his feet, because I think it would have been more beneficial for him. The fact that he's been too low-key with it, it probably won't even get the rematch now, because he's made it sound like, I would have got beat by Smith if the fight would have continued.
This is another thing, Cam. Yeah, go ahead, Leon.
No, he did. He seemed to... This is where he needed Lockett to stand, like you said, to step in for him, because he's obviously heartbroken about the fight, and he's an honest kid. So he's gonna probably... That's probably how he was feeling, that he was tiring in that fight. You just don't let him say that.
Yeah, but what were you going to say?
Because Cam, you bring up another... Yeah.
Force the message that you want the rematch, and be all over it. Maybe not in the pre-fight one, the post-fight one, but in like the news conference afterwards. Yeah. Then you got to go fully at it, haven't you?
What were you going to say, Kimo?
No, I was saying you bring up yet another aspect of this, which is important, and that's let's say you've tried your best, you've shouted, you've yelled, you've gone fucking crazy, nothing happens during the fight. Start building for the fucking rematch, man. This is what pissed me off most, because it's like, dude, this guy's an up and comer. He's a talented fucking kid. He's got a future in this. He's on a great show, a great platform. You get the fight fucking robbed from you, and you don't even start fucking, like gunning for a rematch. What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, man. Like, remember, we saw Kroll Linares Part 2. You know what I mean? That was fucking unnecessary. But why? Because you have guys like Hearn and Gallagher saying, oh, the fight was close and this and that, and, we can do better next time. You were winning most of the goddamn rounds. And then you're going to sit there with a defeatist fucking attitude and just concede defeat to this fucking scumbag, man. I'm just like disgusted by it, man.
Lockett should have been saying, my man fucking schooled him for 7 or 8 rounds.
Yes.
Beat the shit out of him. Puts enough. He gets hit. And he gets headbutted, and it gets pulled out. I have to pull him out because of this. But he's got to say that his man was beating him up. They were just like, we were doing well, and then we were fading. No, you weren't. You were doing. You fucking beating the shit out of him. He was which smashed to bits. His facially, wasn't he?
Yep.
Which also, I mean, it has an economic link, right, for doing the rematch, but it also has a link as a trainer. Like, what are you telling Williams after the fight? I'm really curious. Like, are you going to tell him that he didn't do well skill wise? Kid was doing fucking fantastic, man. Yeah, he could have done a few things better. I think he could have worked the body a bit better. I think he could have been a little bit more confident on the inside, because I don't think Smith got the better of him on the inside, to be honest. And Williams lined up a few darn good body shots. Like, there's stuff there that can be worked on. You have to see it from a positive attitude. These guys were so defeated, man. I don't understand this Lockett guy. I mean, I really don't know much about him as a person, but it just baffles me, man. Like, you put all this fucking work in, you worked yourself up to this fight, They've asked for it. They fucking asked for this fight, right? I mean,
yeah, they've been chasing the fight.
Yeah, it's like this is your defining moment, Like, in a way, it was like, I mean, I don't want to compare it in the same skill, but this is like you have the Groves versus the Frotch, like you have the guy who's more established versus the young gun that's more skilled, that's coming in there to fucking take that name, man. Like, if he would have beaten Smith, sky's the limit for this guy, right?
Definitely.
I mean,
yeah. And
he was lined up for big things, man.
Paul Smith has already started saying, we decide when the rematch happens and all this shit. So he's going to have to fucking work his arse off to get that fight. Because they're not going to fucking give it up, are they? They're going to say, we're moving on to world title shots. But you're not allowed, you should be allowed near a world title if you're going to fucking not turn up and make weight. We haven't get to this.
Leon,
his interview afterwards, I'm the most genuine fighter around. Are you? You're talking about, firstly, you're talking about yourself, so you're a cunt. Secondly, you're not. You can't just say, I'm heartbroken, I'm the most genuine fighter around, people know me, I'm a genuine guy. What we do fucking know is you miss weight. Not by a little bit, by a lot. They were lucky they fucking let you fight him. They were well within their right to go, nah, not fighting you.
True.
Which adds more fuel to the fire, right? I mean, this whole missing weight thing. I mean, the whole thing just paints a very fucking dirty picture. I just feel, but on the one hand, Leon, if we're gonna rage about it, if these guys don't rage about it themselves, why the fuck would we rage about it? I understand that Williams, wants to be a bit humble and this and that, but if his entire fucking camp and himself don't stand up for this, then why the fuck should we? I'm not gonna force the guy to fucking take a rematch. The thing is,
I said, didn't I, on the Sunday morning, we were putting up more of a fucking fight for him. Do you know what I mean? We were the ones fucking going to war with the fucking Chuckle Brothers on the internet, trying to fucking throw fire on the fucking ridiculous statements throw water on the ridiculous statements they were making. Nothing, we were the ones who seemed more upset. I don't think it helps. I think the Smith thing does add fuel to the fire. I think they're so disliked that, it was always going to be a huge reaction, wasn't it? Thoroughly enjoyable.
And guys, by the way, Box Nation was fucking trash. I'm sorry to say. And I was a fan of Richie Woodall on Channel 5, but the commentary was dog shit, man. This guy had like fucking 3 10-10 rounds, man.
He's taking a leaf out of Frotch's book, I think.
The fuck is going on, man?
That was one
Seriously,
round. Was it the second, which was like a clear Liam Williams round? And he's like, yeah, it was close. I'll give it an even round. And you're like, what?
I just think, do you know what it is? On that, I think it's outrageous that Barry Jones wasn't on the BT section as the main commentator. Don't you?
They had him on just for
work he's done with Box Nation.
They had him on for the shitty, the Box Nation bit, and then put him in a car and sent him to London to cover the Lomachenko fight.
But he should have been the main guy.
I think he should.
He should be the main guy.
I like Woodhull a lot, and he kind of runs hot and cold. He's a bit like Paul Dempsey as well. Like Paul Dempsey, like when he's doing like the Dave stuff and a few other channels, he's quite independent. But like with Channel 5, he's a bit. He kind of sucks up to the promoter, the fighters, the managers, everyone. Like I thought Dempsey was quite good on the weekend. He was kind of criticising Smith for not making weight. He was criticising like Dubois' opponent and stuff like that, which I thought was quite good because usually you just get like reading from the same hymn sheet. So it was good that he was doing that. But
and he said the Flanagan fight wasn't an exciting victory. It didn't do what it needed to do.
Exactly, which was true, man, because the fight was pretty flat.
Yeah.
But yeah, Woodhull, man, he's slowly just changing a bit, man. I don't know what's happening with him.
But look, I just think I just don't see Williams getting the rematch. I think the Smiths have. I mean, the way they celebrated this hollow victory was just. I mean, Paul Smith's insulting women in the crowd, and he can say what he likes, like, "Oh, she was giving me back," but it's like. You go on about respect and all this kind of thing, and then you're just so vile to people. They are just...
That's the thing, Leon. If someone's insulting you all night and disrespecting you, whatever, you're in the kind of... I wouldn't say celebrity status. That's kind of giving him too much credit. But you're in that public spotlight, so you have to be the bigger person and think, well, don't fucking stand there when the fight's getting announced there, putting your muscles up and showing him, and Steven's there doing windmills in the ring. When you basically got lucky in a fight where your brother was getting the shit beaten out of him, schooled, looking like shit. You got lucky. You just take it as a low key win. Don't fucking go on like.
It's their best win. It's the best. That win, even with that through that, is the best win a Smith brother has. And look, I'm sorry if we can get to you that easy that you get this they're going to say we were upset, and they were just defending him. No, they came looking for this fight. I thought it was so peculiar how aggressive they were being, and like they had zero respect for Williams. I didn't see one comment from a brother saying that it was a good performance from him. They were just on the attack. It was peculiar, man. Because they were finding people, like you said, they were finding people to do this shit. They're fucking bunch of weirdos, man.
Yeah, but Kim, I know like we've been very critical. And I just want to go back to Williams because on Friday I disagree with you about his variety in that, but some of the his selection and the punches he was making were excellent, like the reverse 1-2s. He'd do like the 1-2-1 and finish on like a stiff jab. Even like the 2-1-2, and he was mixing it up so well, and the movement was good, and he wasn't getting hit that clean. And you were talking about the inside, where I was expecting Smith to be the beast on the inside, but like Williams was doing much better on the inside. The uppercuts were working well. Just a great performance by the young lad, man. And I'm gutted what's happened, but I hope that he regroups, and I still think he can go on to do really good things.
Yeah, Cam, he was good, man. I really think he's a talented fighter, man. The point you mentioned about finishing up with the stiff jab, that worked all night. It's like Smith never learned from that. He never realized that there would be a rangy punch following the combinations that William was throwing, and every time it would land clean and snap his head back. And a lot of times he would do a little step in and end with a jab. It was fucking beautiful, man.
Yep.
I mean, no, he really boxed very well. I was worried a little bit in the beginning that there would be excess movement and that would tire him out, and that might have been the case a little bit as well. Like I said, I think he could have been a bit more confident in the pocket because Smith was not beating him to the punch in any fucking position, whether it's mid-range, close by, or on the outside. And, I hate to rub it in a little bit, but exactly what I told you last show as well, Cam. Smith does not punch with his opponents. He never has. He never fucking will. And even if he does it, it's by accident. And if he doesn't do it for like 4 other rounds, the dude has to have a stationary target for like 3 to 4 seconds, and then he will start throwing. I mean, and again, also what I said, right? By the time he starts throwing punches, there's already so much accumulated damage. There's such a high risk of getting stopped by cuts, by TKO. Like you've taken so much already. You cannot put that kind of a pressure if you don't have anything left, man. And I also noticed with Smith, I mean, he's talking about stopping the guy. I didn't see a lot of snap on his punches. Is that due to the weight cut that he had? I'm not sure, but he wasn't a sharp puncher in the night, right?
Yeah, I said it earlier, like, Williams has the weighty punches. Whenever he even got close, there was no weight behind him. And it might be the weight cut, but overall, Smith was awful.
It's just ridiculous. And Leon, just to get back to what you were saying as well, if I look at what Smith basically put on his fucking Twitter, I mean, there's 3 messages, right? The one is like, the cut was open before the head clash. Regardless, he chose to stop the fight. We were both cut. Simple. I did what I had to do. He was falling apart, and he openly admitted he was gassed. I mean, if that's the only thing you've got to say about the fight, yeah.
It does not say he did anything well, is he?
Yep.
But that's the thing. They gave it.
Can you hear me?
By saying that he gassed.
Yeah, we can.
So by him kind of openly admitting he got a bit tired and stuff, they just knew they had all this ammunition. That's why they went on the attack, I think.
And this is exactly why that entire fucking corner should have stood up for themselves. And yeah, it's like you say, they gave him all the ammunition they needed. I mean, I'm sure Smith was thinking like, whoa, I'm definitely gonna fucking steamroll this guy in the press conference. You fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and then Paul Butler was the worst. He came out and was all about, keyboard warriors. If you haven't been in the ring, you can't fucking comment. How tiresome is that fucking argument? So I went through his Twitter and just found things that weren't boxing that he had commented on, and just retweeted them with just like, I think I did 20 in the row before he blocked me. My favourite one was he was talking about some jockeys who should have won or something, and I said to him, "Not a horse, no judgment, please."
That was excellent. and the sad thing is, you're a Butler fan as well, so it's a bit of a shame that he blocked you now.
Oh, I like Butler, but it's just like I cannot. It's just the reaction that from the fight, those fighters in the Gallagher thing was just they were so proud of that performance, proud of how brave he was and all this stuff. And it's like he got his face smashed in, and then you get all his Liverpool. There's a lot of Liverpool fans with the red side of that thing who are very kind of Team Smith and that he can do no wrong. And it's like, they're jealous. They're jealous of you. That's why they're attacking you. It's like, I'm not jealous of a living where you get punched in the fucking face. I'm fine making my money like this. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not jealous. We're not jealous. We just saw a fucking outrageous, a lot of us thought it was an outrageous thing happen. No one's jealous of the fucking Smith brother. You fucking kidding me?
It's just the lamest argument to make, right? It has no context. It has no content. It's just fucking stupid. I mean, it cancels all discussion out. Like, oh no, you can't say anything because you weren't in the fucking ring. And like you said as well, Smith even posted a picture of himself fucking bleeding all over the place. That's something to be proud of. That's a great performance. I mean, okay, you showed heart in there, but posting a picture of yourself after you got the shit beaten out of and then headbutted a guy for victory. Dude, I don't know how you can look yourself in the fucking mirror afterwards and say that you're fucking proud, man. You can show a little bit of humility, but
he's all humility. He used to be the one that I had least problem with. Once he got that title and went on that, I mean, one of the worst runs to defend a world title. I mean, the people he fought before he fought Canelo were horrible. But since he got that, he just became a prick. And fucking Callum's mask, as Jamaica said, Callum's mask fucking slipped on Saturday night. He came out to prove himself to be 100% a Smith brother.
Yeah, I'm the same.
They're not going to give him a rematch, man, because they have this fucking sense of entitlement as well, right? They said it coming into the fight, we've been on the big stage and we are the world level elite fighter, that's the way they really think. And that's why they're going to leave this all behind, even though in their head, they beat a quote unquote domestic or European level guy. But the reality is that domestic or European level guy beat the fucking living shit out of you. But yeah, let them think what they want to think, man. Let him go ahead. Let him have a fucking eliminator or not a world title shot. He will get a rude awakening, just like he did in fucking Dallas, Texas, man. He'll get the living piss beating out of him.
All right, Kimo, I know it's really late for you. Anything else you want to talk about in the Manchester card, or do you want to touch on the Lomachenko card, or do you just want to call it a night?
I'll stay on for a little bit, man. I'm fucking raging anyway, man. I'm not gonna go to sleep. we can finish up the Manchester card, man, and then we'll move on later on to HBO. I got another good 45 hour in me, so let's do it.
All right, Nikki's jumped in the line. Are you there, Nailton?
Yep.
You want to give us your thoughts about the Smith Williams fight quickly, if you caught it?
I mean, yeah, it was really just a shame. I'm not sure exactly what you guys were talking about because I got brought on here so late. But with regards to Williams and Smith, I mean, I thought Williams was winning. I think that Gary Lockett is, his soul got snatched by Kelly Pavlik all those years ago, and it's still snatched. And so he just bottled it, and he fucked Williams over by making a shitty decision. He should have been fighting for his fighter like any other trainer you think would. And like they normally do. I mean, shit. We'll talk about the Usyk fight a little bit later, but what's his name? I'm blanking on his name now.
Hunter.
Hunter. There we go. Michael Hunter. His trainers, they let him kind of almost go out on the show in the last round, in a round that he needed to win, or at the very least needed to survive in order to keep his viability as like a contender, and just not wind up with one of those bans outside as some son of a bitch fucking revs his engine like nobody's business. But Williams should have had that fight won, and it's really just a shame that he didn't get the W there. Smith, I mean, we were kind of correct in our preview leading up into the fight with regards to the fact that, I mean, like me, and it seemed like most of us felt like, he was going to be just a step behind, and especially with the weight issues and all that stuff, I think showed that, it was kind of Williams' time to rise, and I think Lockett basically screwed that up. So it's really a shame. I thought Williams was ahead. I thought he was outboxing Smith for the most part. Smith did his usual Gallagher routine of not doing shit for several rounds, and then finally starting to come on a little bit in the mid rounds, but it was too little, too late, and he was getting his ass whooped, and that's all there was to it.
All right, let's move on. Chemo. Terry Flanagan's performance was quite flat.
Cam. One second. Before we go to Flanagan, one real quick thing. I've always trolled a lot about the Smith brothers and, joked around a little bit with you guys because it always just winds you up. But I'm also done with that, man. Like, I've had an awakening. I now understand the fucking scumbags that these guys are. So, fuck them. And I'm rooting for, like, a violent fucking knockout every time they fight. That's it.
So you won't be...
The worm has turned.
You won't be purchasing a Smith Brothers t-shirt anytime soon, then?
I might, and then I'll fucking burn it in a fucking ritual and put it on Twitter.
Just quickly, I'm fucking double pissed off as well, because they're such wankers. I'm going to have to be fucking Team Darrell when Anthony fights fucking Canada. I never fucking thought in my life I'd be on that fucking team failure.
Yeah, the TMT twins will be happy to greet you.
Fuck it,
team
Leon.
Failure.
Leon, just pray for a double knockout.
Not gonna no. Team failure away.
They'll be able to spin that, Cam. If they have a double knockout, they'll take that as a victory or something, man. These guys are fucking delusional.
They'll put it as a W on their record. All right, Chemo Flanagan, I was pretty disappointed with his performance, both in the arena and watching it back. It just doesn't seem to have gears at times. He just seems to be happy just being on the outside, 1-2s coming back out, and he was clinching too much towards the end of the fight. And he was really open to like a leaping in lead right hand from Petrov. He got caught with it so many times, and he didn't really adjust to it. He's lucky that Petrov doesn't have that much power, because against someone with a meaty punch, man, he would have got hurt and maybe even dropped, man. But it's just kind of a lazy-ish performance for me. I had it 8-4, so it wasn't close. But the platform he's on, it was the first, BT Sport Box Nation tie-up fight. I would have hoped he would have just tried to go for a knockout or tried to look impressive like he did against Magdaleno. Like when he had Magdaleno hurt, he jumped on him, he was throwing lots of punches, but he's playing it a bit too safe for me. Like he did the 1-2 clinch, hold on, he got warned, a final warning as well for, punching at the back of the head. He was pushing down a lot, he was pushing off a lot, he didn't get the warnings for the pushes, and yeah, just an underwhelming performance from Turbo.
Yeah, and it was a nice screenshot of you sitting in the crowd, half asleep. I mean, that pretty much sums up the fight.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of Warden in him, doesn't he? He's not a exactly physically, he's obviously a little bit gifted, but he's not per se like some sort of freak athlete or a terrific skilled boxer. He's just a really difficult guy to face. He makes guys look bad. And
I think I'd say one thing. I think he's quite physically. He might not be a big puncher, but I think he's quite physically strong for that weight.
He
seems to have, he can move the guy around, those people around the ring. That's why.
Yeah, which
that's
reminds
why
me
he holds on. That's why he holds on.
Which reminds me a bit of Ward, right?
Yeah,
Leon?
yeah.
It reminds
Similar
me
tactic.
of Ward at super middle. You know, the guy was also not a big puncher, but if he would tie you up, guys would be surprised about how physically strong he is, and he would just kind of muscle them about. And it's similar with Flanagan. You know, like he's got skill, but I don't know. He just prefers to make it a very ugly fight. And I'll be frank, Cam. I watched the fight in 2 parts. I couldn't finish it the first time. I was like, "Fuck this shit."
I got shit.
And then I was like, whatever. I'll finish it. I'll watch the last couple of rounds later on. But it was just a dreadful fight. I hate this type of fight to watch it.
You have to really push through these fights, don't you? You have to really concentrate to get through it.
It's the clinching just breaks up the rhythm and the flow of the fight, and it just ruins it. Petrov,
it's the kind of thing, I'll be watching it and I'll look at Twitter and then I'll drift and like 4 rounds have gone.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh fuck, rewind that again.
Yeah,
I watched it about 15 times.
I have to do that.
Probably.
I have to constantly rewind it because I kind of take my eye off it, look at Twitter, and you just hear, "Oh, what a great shot!" And you're like, "Shit, I missed it." Rewind. Oh, it wasn't that good. But you're right.
It was tough work.
And Petrov, props to him. He came. He was putting the effort, and he was cut quite badly towards the end of the fight, and he had his head down and he was trying to work him. But when a guy is just constantly engaging in the clinch and just trying to hold on, there's not much you can do, especially if you're not physical enough to kind of manhandle him around the ring.
But I gave him some rounds, you know.
I give him 4.
I gave him some rounds later on. I thought he got back into the fight and was starting to hit Flanagan to the body. But I think Flanagan he won that 12th quite clear, and that gave it to him 7-5 for me. I thought it was a bit closer. I mean, some of the scoring was fucking outrageous.
Yeah, one judge had it 12-0.
Yeah, 12-zip, and big old Buncy agreed.
That's disgusting, man.
Of course he did, that fucking biased cunt. Jesus Christ,
you
he was
hate
annoying.
the Bunce, don't you?
Oh, I hate his voice. I hate his face. I hate everything about this guy. Good Lord. He does not have a voice for television. I mean, what is that voice, man? Seriously. I do not understand why this guy's on TV.
He's got like a horse racing voice, isn't it? You could imagine him like on a horse racing channel. But Nikki, I know you saw this fight.
Seriously.
Nikki, I know you
But
saw this.
seriously, the scoring was appalling.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good segue into Naota's card. Because Naota's so-called card
Here we go.
The complete opposite direction. Because where did you have it, Nikki?
I had it a draw.
How did you have it a draw?
I didn't think Flanagan was really especially effective. I thought that Petrov had a lot of really good moments, especially with the body work. And in spite of the fact that Terry Flanagan was, doing a lot of hit and holding, like doing a Grabomir Klitschko routine, I thought that there was enough moments that Petrov had where he was landing flurries of punches on the inside that I thought, I didn't necessarily think that he had enough to win on the cards, but I thought it was enough to at least, make it an either way type of a fight between the two of them. Flanagan really didn't impress me all that much. I mean, he basically had to fight a dirty fight because he lacked, I think, the technical wherewithal to completely dominate Flanagan in a more seamless, clean fashion. And I mean, that's pretty much what there was to it. Flanagan did do pretty well when he was able to keep Petrov at a distance and kind of force Petrov to lunge in with some of those hooks that he missed really wide. But there were occasions where Petrov pretty much was able to, bob and weave on his way on the inside and landed a number of really hard body shots, especially. And, unlike a lot of people, I count body shots. And I thought that, he landed them frequently enough and cleanly enough that it made it a pretty close fight between the two of them. But, I mean, I've never been particularly impressed with Flanagan. I do think he probably starches Felix Verdejo just because Verdejo is hot garbage. But I still see Flanagan as the weakest champion of the bunch. So nothing's really changed with regard to that. And I could very easily see, somebody that has a bigger name like looking to pick him off, whether it's Garcia, Lomachenko, whoever.
Well, he said that he wants maybe Linares or Lomachenko next. Lomachenko was questioning his post-fight, and he says, he'd love to come over to the UK and fight Flanagan. So, Leon?
Yeah. I think it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win for Aaron, for Warren, for the whole nine. Because the thing is, if Flanagan happens to just be too big for Lomachenko at a certain point, you eventually meet somebody that's a little bit too big, too strong. Possibly. I mean, I think Lomachenko would probably beat him, but there's a possibility still is there potentially. Then that's a huge win for Flanagan, like way bigger than anything else that he could potentially do, just based off of name value. Regardless of however big or small Lomachenko is, it's almost like Walters when he beat Darnaire. It didn't matter that fucking Darnaire used to be a flyweight and super flyweight. He was a big name and he got knocked out. And if he loses, well, he lost to this ascending, rising, pound for pound star or whatever. So I mean, I think it's kind of a win-win for both sides. And at that point, Lomachenko doesn't have to fight like a Corrales or a Burchell and stuff. He can very easily avoid those type of fights and be like, well, I moved up in weight and I knocked out a champion. So that's all there was to it.
Yep.
Yeah, typical Lomachenko. He would just be ducking Corrales and that other Burchell guy just to fight Flanagan.
I think they're both separate fights in Flanagan. So go figure. But the whole thing is most people though, they would just think, oh well, fuck it, we know Flanagan because he's fought on British TV all these times, and so fuck everybody else basically.
So sexy. He's a good-looking chap, man. What can you say? That's a battle between.
He's a talker. He's certainly a talker.
I don't understand what he's saying, though, Leon.
No, he sounds like he's mentally retarded. It's a shambles.
No, but I think Loma does pretty easy with Corrales, but the Burchell fight that I definitely want to see before he moves up the weight classes. But yeah, it's one of those things where the Flanagan fight. I agree with Nauta. I had it a draw myself. I thought it was a very boring fight to watch, and I just kind of. I watched it because Cam was at the fight, so I felt like I needed to be there for my boy, but it was not a very pleasurable.
Did you see him in the crowd, Len?
Were you looking out for me?
I tried to, but there was just a lot of guys who looked like him, like just ugly looking guys,
I'll send you a screenshot.
Totally kidding. I mean, I eventually was able to see it because of Camp, beautiful wife Sid, obviously, shout out to Sid. He's an amazing Cam, so much kind of blew my TV. So, but anyways, I don't know. I don't have much to say about that. Can fight. If it's not Lomachenko, I don't want to see him keep that belt hostage. So if there's any way that he can unify with Robert Easter and eventually get like the Linares showdown, all I care about in these weight divisions is for these guys to just get X'd out. I want to see them either fight like a contender or just give up their belt entirely. And if that means fighting Lomachenko or Easter, like two guys that I think beat him, like that's pretty much all I can ask for.
Totally agreed. All right, let's quickly go for the rest of this card, then we can get into the Lomachenko card.
And how are you guys spending 56 minutes on this fucking card, dude? I swear.
Pipe down.
We spent 45 minutes just venting about the headbutt, so what do you expect?
Can I ask you guys a question, though? Before this fight, did you guys rate Liam Smith as like a good fighter at that weight division?
I did. But kind of like domestic European level.
Domestic level, yeah, exactly.
So, did this fight tell you anything about either Liam Smith or Williams?
Yeah, definitely.
Liam Smith's worse than I thought he was.
Yeah, and Williams is better than I thought he was.
Williams is as good as I thought he was.
Can you see him getting a belt at that weight class?
Who, Williams?
It's a tough weight class.
Yeah, it's a tough weight class. It doesn't matter. He just needs to go back and get this rematch. That's the only thing that matters at the moment. Like, beyond that, like I think there's more. He has more places to go. Like there's more growth in him than there is in Liam Smith. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's not saying much, right?
No, but it's saying something.
That's fair. Okay. So, do you guys know who the weakest champion at 54 is currently?
Jared Hurd.
Jared Hurd.
Did you guys see? That would probably be a good fight, right? Williams versus Jared Hurd.
I think Williams needs a few more fights.
Lim, there are no weak champions, man. It's lines only at 54. So
now one of the lines moved up. One of the lines moved up.
Yeah, it's lonely lions. Lonely lions. They've split up. Let's get back to this card.
Yes.
I want to talk about
Dan just storms in and just tramples all over the fucking show.
Yeah, all right. Let me take reign. Keem, I want to talk about the great opponent that Daniel Dubois had.
Brian King.
I'm not saying anything. I like Brian.
Oh, wanker. Outrageous chemo.
Chemo, like, when Joshua turned pro, I think his first opponent was like, he wasn't great, but he was undefeated. I think he had 7 fights. Why is Dubois, he's supposed to be really good. He's supposed to have, like, done really well against AJ in sparring, against Joy Joyce. Like, why are you going to have your first fight against this guy?
You could, what the funny part is?
That screen grab.
Yeah, but you could tell. You could tell the commentary team, even though they're biased as fuck, even they were struggling with it. They didn't know what to say. Like, even at the end, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, he did what he had to do, but Jesus fucking Christ, you could hear him
well, this is
thinking
your
out loud.
first pro fight. You have to start somewhere.
Well, yeah, exactly. You have to start somewhere. You have to beat up the local butcher. It's fucking horrendous, man.
This guy's so bad.
He's gonna get his.
I don't know where they got it from, man.
Chemo,
He was from Latvia.
But Chemo, he got the nerves out the way in his first fight, so in his second fight, he won't be as nervous.
But the guy was so happy to be there.
He was even laughing when he got knocked down.
Yeah. That guy's probably gonna have that like recorded and like have a picture of him getting knocked out. Be like, yeah, I got knocked out by a future great. It's tell his grandkids about that.
It's like they dialed the wrong number and they went. They phoned some guy and he's like, oh yeah, I'll do it for the lols. He's just there having a fucking laugh.
Like the pizza man.
I've never
he was
seen a guy
amazing.
more out of shape though. I've never seen a guy more out of shape than that in the ring. I mean, maybe Butterbean or something like that, but this was like fucking horrendous, man. Like his man boobs were just flying all over the place. And when they showed the replay as well, you could see
at least
the
Butterbean
layers
had
of
some
fat
sort of
just-
technique.
Yeah, he was a knockout artist, right? But you could see the layers of
how many
fat
rounds?
just like shockwave. 30 seconds. It went for 30
Less
seconds.
like 30 seconds, man.
But listen to this, right? When the guy was reading the decision, when the guy was saying, like, it went by technical knockout in 30 seconds, you could see the guy visibly nodding of approval, like, nah, I went 30 seconds. Like, nah. He was like, he was fucking happy with what he did. Man. It was
Whoever posted that picture in the chat where his head where the fighter's head was like up in the air and like his mouth was just wide open and his arms were on the ropes, like it's almost like a picture. I mean, you can go a lot with it, but it reminded me of like seeing a guy on the treadmill for like a minute at the gym and just completely out of shape and just like getting off of it, just completely out of air, and that was pretty much enough. But what was the context of the fight, though? Was it the opponent's first fight? Is that what the situation was?
Yeah, Dubois, an up-and-coming 19-year-old, decided to turn pro rather than go to the next Olympics, and he sparred with some, Joshua, Joyce, a lot of the UK heavyweight team, and the stories have been told that he really held his own and did really well. So,
Cam, he's 19.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a fucking monster, man.
That's what I'm saying. But I think he could have fought someone
huge
better. He could have fought someone better.
For
Light
19.
heavyweight?
Yep.
Gee, was it at a catch weight of like 194.6 pounds or what? How did that other guy make weight?
Heavyweight.
He's a heavyweight, not a light heavy.
Gotcha. Okay. Good stuff.
He looks
Sorry
like he could be.
again to interject. Keep going on.
He could be exciting though, Cam, couldn't he?
I
If
like
the rumours
him.
are true.
Yeah, I like it, but I think they'll take his time because obviously he's not got as much amateur experience. So I can see like 2 years of just knocking over poor opponents.
But that's fine. He's that young. That's like people don't have a problem with. Like they're not gonna. He's gonna be able to do that down at the bottom of his bills. Like that's absolutely fine, isn't it?
He has said that he wants
It's
to
when
be
he starts headlining stuff,
He said he has said he wants to be the youngest ever British heavyweight champion. So I don't know. I think this is Herbie Hyde. Was Herbie Hyde the youngest they were saying? So I don't know at what age Herbie Hyde won it. So.
But I'm telling you, that's well achievable because the British level heavyweights aren't great, are they?
No, but he doesn't want to be the British champion at the youngest. He wants to be the youngest British world champion.
Oh, British world champion. Okay, well he should slow down then a bit then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have a great nickname though, a dangerous Daniel Dubois.
Triple D.
I like it.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
It's like his TNT kind of logo was a bit cheap, man. It looked like it be made in Microsoft Paint.
Did we? While we're on bad opponents, did you see that guy, that freaky cruiserweight who's like 6'7", called Thompson? Cam.
Oh, he was massive, man.
Did you see that fat little mod he was fighting?
From the Beatles tribute band. He was tiny. He looked tiny compared to him.
It looked like a scene out of Time Bandits. Remember that film? He looked like he was probably fighting a midget. It was fucking ridiculous.
That was crazy. But yeah, just going on.
Oh man.
The rest of the card, Jack Catterall was on the televised Box Nation part, and I was saying that last week, on Friday, that I thought Gethin was shot, and Catterall did what he's supposed to do to a guy that shot, and he basically just showed no respect, went in there, he was landing clean on him. Gethin just seemed like he wasn't in the fight. When he fought Hibbert, it looks like he came to fight. In this one, he just looked like an opponent, and he was having his hands low, letting him, let off shots for free, and just trying to like roll him, but wasn't trying to block him with his arms. And I don't know, it just seems like he was there for the payday. And yeah, Catterall kind of fucked him up, and it was a decent performance. But yeah, I think they need to slowly start stepping Jack Catterall up a bit. But you did what you had to do to a guy like that. Anyone else? Should we move on?
Yeah, just one more comment, Cam. Regarding I didn't see it either, but regarding the Box Nation opponents, I mean, these guys that Warren digs up, man. You've got like the level that that Hearn brings in with all these Argentinians and Bolivians and all these fucking bums, and then you've got like Warren who goes like a few steps below that, and it's just horrendous, man. He just brings him right out of the pub and puts a pair of gloves on him, and I mean, we laugh about it, but it's fucking dangerous, man. That fat fuck could have been hurt really bad. Like, it's dangerous, especially with dangerous Daniel Dubois in the ring. Yeah, he was
by your account, he seemed pretty happy with himself. So hey, it's all about free will, man.
Cam, did you see? There was a couple of. Did you see that kid from Manchester?
Zelfa Barrett.
Brown? Yeah, Barrett.
Yeah, that was a good performance. It was a good fight.
That was really good. That was a good fight. That was a British guy again against another Brit, rather than bringing in a foreign import to fight. So, but that finishing punch was beautiful.
Yeah, he threw a right hook that kind of just grazed him. The left hook on the button and the right hook as well, just to send him down. And yeah, it was a nice, and it was a good performance from him. I think Jameson was a late replacement, but he's lost. I think he had lost 8, but he's never been stopped. And I think Barrett dropped him in the first round. And some guys who can maybe jump on him and trying to get the guy out of there straight away, but he kind of went back to his boxing using the jab, the 1-2s, and combination punching was good. And yeah, for the young kid, he's pretty impressive. The only issue really is Leon. Now he's 16-0. Now, he needs to start stepping up. Now, I know he's young, but I don't want him to, like, the Marcus Morrison situation where, he finally steps up and he just gets exposed.
But I think, because there's not so high profile and they're not pushed so forward like the Sky thing, that he can get away with another 4, I'd say. Get to 20-0, but start stepping into British level now and try and get a British fight maybe in 4 or 5 fights.
That's fair. That one was scheduled.
You don't have to be getting to world level in your 30th fight isn't.
It's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing,
especially if you're young.
You only get 5 or 6 fights at world level, like the average. No,
that's actually fair.
Not like you are going to have 15 fights at world level. You don't always get that many, do you?
No, that's fair, especially when you're young, because he's only 23. So that's a really good point. Obviously,
exactly.
If you're 28, you got to be fast tracked a bit because time's not on your side. But when you're 23, you can take it easy. And with his uncle being a former boxer as well, I think his uncle knows the business. He knows that you need to kind of learn on the job. And if you've not got there, I think he only had like 28 amateur fights or something like that. So he's really kind of getting his amateur experience now. So yeah, you're right. I take back what I said.
And look at Mexican fighters they'll get to world level and they have 35 fights.
Yeah, even
they start so young. So
yeah, even like 40.
An issue.
Yeah, that's true.
Hearn just pushes someone like Morrison. They've let him. He just got caught up in the Gallagher hype, didn't he? So and he got fucking exposed because he was getting pushed too quickly. or he jumped up too quickly, didn't he? From trash to a half decent guy.
Yep, well said. That's about it. Paul Butler was on the card. Routine kind of win from him, but in the 6th round, it's a bit unnecessary. And Nicola Adams' debut against the Argentine Kakamo. I don't know. I thought she was rushing her work a bit. She got clipped with a few sweeping right hands as well. And when she was letting off shots, she was a bit too close and smothering on work. And when she would step back and kind of use the counter, it worked a bit better. But I'm high on Katie Taylor, man. I just like the way Taylor fights. I'm not too high on Adams. I don't think technique-wise she's that great. Like, I know, Kimo, you criticised me for using the word backhand in the last couple of months, but I don't think a backhand is that straight. She kind of loops it a bit, and yeah.
This is not fucking tennis, man. Why are we saying
man.
backhand in boxing?
Your backhand is your backhand, man. Come on, what are you talking about?
We never used to say the word backhand until like 3 months ago.
It's good to.
Well, what else do you want him to say?
Yeah. Straight right cross.
Big the thing about backhand, it's more of a flexible term, casual.
Exactly, because if I'm talking about a southpaw, then I have to say, the straight left or the straight right. Exactly.
You know what you used to say, Cam? You know what you used to say? Because you started taking this over from fucking Sky. You used to just say the power hand or something like that. You never used to say backhand.
It's good to, add extra new words to your vocab, man. What are you hating for, bruv?
He's a vile troll. Cam. He's a vile troll.
Don't mind.
Anyway, that was not the point. Your point was that she's a bit wild and Katie Taylor's a lot better. I agree.
Yeah, full stop. Anyone else, or should we move on?
Just one question for you, Cam.
Video card guys.
Sorry, Dan. 1 second.
Just one quick question. Is this the beginning of a lot more of these cards on BT now, or what's the deal?
Yep, you will still get some crappy domestic just on Box Nation cards, but a lot of these half decent ones are going to be the Box Nation tie-up. So we'll probably get a few undercard fights.
The next one's ours, isn't it? The one we're going to.
No. Because isn't the Leeds one and the Leicester one? I think they're on BT Sport.
Oh yes, the Leicester one as well.
Versus Langford. But Kimo, we're going to be getting a few more of these. I didn't mind it. I thought the production was pretty good. Atmosphere in the arena was decent. Obviously, it's Manchester, so there were fights in the crowd. There was a biggish one in one section where the police and security came and basically chucked out half of the section, and a lot of the Williams fans left after that fight. So it did empty out when Flanagan was fighting. But overall, for a Warren card, half the lower bowl was just over half the lower bowl was open to seats. So it was a good, probably like 7,000, 8,000. So I enjoyed it.
Excellent. Let's move on.
I think there's nothing else remaining on this Manchester card, unless anyone wants to add anything. If not, we'll go over to...
Cam, what was your experience like at the venue and everything? How was your day at the fight?
What was your fan experience like?
It was
Guys,
good.
Were you greeted at the door? Like, did they get your hot dog and your popcorn ready for you?
Guys, that's an important part of our program. It's conveying the actual human experience of going to these fights.
It was good, Daniel.
Cool story, bro.
Dan, when we went to the States, I was thinking, do you get searched? I don't remember getting searched at the Canelo Khan fight. Do you know me?
No. Nah, man.
That's crazy.
That's some bullshit.
That's crazy.
They had sniffer dogs at the Quig fight, didn't they?
They had him at this fight as well.
Didn't stop anyone though, did it? It was like a fucking crack den going to the toilet, man.
That's true. They had him at this fight as well. But no, it was decent, Dan. It was a good night. I enjoyed it. I got tickets last minute, so I missed the Dubois fight. I just came in when Jack Cattrall was about to fight, so I didn't see that Brian King live in the flesh, unfortunately. So.
Best fight of the night.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Lomachenko. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, please. My bad. Go for it.
I'll start with you then. Lomachenko card. I know you were half watching it while you were watching another martial arts, but we won't talk about that. Lomachenko versus Sosa. Your thoughts?
I thought Loma. I think what I learned. I think the more I watch boxing, like especially recently, the more that I learned, I'm becoming much more of a casual fan. And I'm not gonna lie, when I watched the fight 2 times. The first time I watched it live, I watched it, I think, with a much more of a casual gaze, in the sense that I got frustrated at the fact that Lomachenko was a more visibly hurting Sosa. You know, I just wanted him to honestly just knock him the fuck out, because that was my initial prediction. I predicted that Lomachenko was going to knock him out cold in the 9th round. And the fact that he had to stop him in the manner that he did by mostly, frustration and just pure skill is something that I learned to appreciate more in the second viewing. So what I learned about Lomachenko is that, like, I think people complain, especially Nauta, I know, complain about his footwork and it not being utilized always efficiently in terms of actually landing punches, which I think is a fair assessment, especially in the first, couple rounds of that fight. But I think when you really assess Lomachenko, it's about just his ability, and I think he's a showman. I think an artist is an overused term, but I think he's a showman. I think he likes to frustrate his opponents, and he's a showboater. I think he's conveyed that more and more and more, especially the more that he's progressed and developed. And I think all that fancy footwork, sure, it may not always be the most efficient way to utilize energy, but if he has the ability to spend that much energy for 12 rounds, which I think he does, I mean, there's really not much to complain, I think, about him. I think the fact that he was able to just get away with all of that shit, especially because Sosa, to me, who was kind of a game opponent, I was really surprised about how tough he was, and Lomachenko's ability to just not get hit with big punches in the later portion of that fight while he was doing all that showboating. I think he's a special fighter, man. I really do, and I always said that, even going back to the Salido fight, and I know me and Cam, we've discussed this a couple of times. I think Lomachenko has improved as a professional fighter substantially since that Salido fight, even the Gary Russell fight. I saw the Gary Russell fight this past week, and Lomachenko's just his willingness to sit more on punches and to be more aggressive and to even showboat more. Like, if you watch the Gary Russell fight, that doesn't even look like the same fighter. He looks so much more tentative than he did, last night. And call me crazy, but if you fight I'm picking. I think Lomachenko, it's a 50-50 fight against Mikey. And to tell you the truth, I'm going to ride with Loma, man. I think Loma's special, and fuck it. If you guys think I'm a dick rider, then I'm happy to be a dick rider, because I love watching him fight, man. Like, his footwork is special to me, man. Like, I know this is a stupid example to use, but you guys try going into the gym and try to hit a heavy bag and try to kind of dance around the way he does and do pivots and throw, like, hooks off of that kind of shit. It's hard, man. Like, I think there's not a lot of guys who can actually do that shit, athletically speaking. So if Lomachenko has a good chin, I think the only complaint that I have of him is that he's not a really heavy-handed puncher. But if he has a good chin, I think he has a chance to be really, really special.
Kimo, I know you downloaded the full card in HD quality. What did you think of Lomachenko?
Yeah, I did, man. And like Naota, I've always been quite critical of Lomachenko. Not necessarily him, but the people that are kind of put him in on a certain status when his resume just isn't there. Obviously, when you look at the guy, from an eye test perspective, yeah, he looks fucking amazing. And Saturday proved that once again. The way, like Dan said, the way he dances around the fucking ring is quite incredible. He is a very, very special athlete, and he's got immense skill. But the thing about the resume is, like, that thing kind of still holds in the back of my mind. Like, he's still, and I'm not holding on to it per se, but I'm just looking at the resume as a whole. He still had a loss from Salido, So I'm thinking, like, okay, if he is really on the level, of the pound for pound fighters that we've seen in the past, should he have that loss? I don't know.
Look,
and that's always something that I've struggled with a little bit. Like,
is he list right now?
Doesn't mean anything.
Honestly.
But it's not that early on, though.
Mean anything, fucking Kimo. Do not be one of these fucking zero cunts.
Hold on. Let me finish my point, and then I'll let you guys.
You're destroying a resume that is in its fucking infancy, man. We'll come. Yeah, you finish.
But that's exactly, Leon. That's exactly my whole point. So if you let me finish. That's my entire point. He's got a resume that's in its infancy with a loss to a guy who's not considered elite, right? I think we can all agree on that. I love Salido, man. I fucking love the guy. But he's not elite. So
he's not in his
my
prime
whole
either.
point. Well, regardless, right? My whole point is I'm not a hater. I love watching Lomachenko fight, and I'm actually getting a bit, on the bandwagon a little bit because I do like his showmanship. I do like the little fucking talking he was doing after the fight. I like that shit.
Whoa.
That intrigues me as well.
Don't get on the bandwagon. Don't get on the bandwagon. You're cursed, mate. Come on, bro. Don't do that to Lomachenko.
I'm not there yet.
You're
No,
not fucking allowed on.
Get on it
You're
now.
not fucking allowed on.
Get on.
Let me just pose that, not even question, but let me just like kind of put something out there. Like, I agree Salido is an elite, but the manner in which that fight took place, and considering how dirty that fight was in both ways, and considering that it was his second fucking fight, and then also think about this: if they fought next Saturday, and obviously not, with Salido like training, for example, would you give Salido a chance to beat Lomachenko?
I would.
If they fought Saturday, okay, maybe you would now, but any of you guys, would you guys pick
Well,
Salido?
I'd give him a chance to beat him, but I wouldn't give him a chance to get a decision.
That's my whole point, though. I think, like I mentioned, if I see the Lomachenko that fought Salido and the Lomachenko that fought Sosa, I just think he's so much better.
Don't fall into that fucking trap, Dan. This is what fucking these people do. They drag this fucking fight up again and again and drag you down this fucking black hole rather than talk about how good he is. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I mean, how good he is, but against what level of opposition? Roman Martinez was a dog shit opponent at 130, and Nicholas Walters never proved anything at the weight class.
Okay, the Walters thing I don't agree with. The Walters thing I do not agree with, but again, it comes to the point. Leon, I'm not hanging on to Salido. What I'm trying to say is, and it's actually a positive note, is I like where this is going. Because I feel like Lomachenko is going towards that defining fight. Whether that is Mikey Garcia, I do not know. And obviously, if he does that, he's got some fucking cojones. Yeah. And even if he makes it a close fight with Mikey, I mean, I will applaud him for that. Trust me. You can take my word for that. But that's what I'm saying. I like where this is going. I think he still needs his defining fight. I thought Walters was, for me personally, his coming out party where I thought like, whoa, this guy is really, say what you want about Walters, but he was an established guy. He beat the fuck out of Nonito Donaire. You can't go on the fact that you think that the guy is a lazy dude. I think that's a very legit win for the division. And for me personally, that's the moment where I thought, okay, now, I mean, he made the guy fucking quit. And he schooled his ass. He didn't fucking just beat him lightly, like he schooled his ass. But, again, another guy like Jason Sosa is nothing to write home about, It's not a fantastic opponent. Sure, it's beautiful to watch, but I still think he needs, like, the defining fight. His Corrales, basically, like Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Go. No, you go, Leon. And then I'll go afterwards.
I'm not like a massive Lomo fan. I just think I think it's getting a little bit, and this is some of his fans' fault, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous. Like we're holding it.
It's entirely his fans' fault. They were the ones that started it.
So let's look past them. Let's ignore them and their point of fucking view, and just look at the cold hard facts. That's all I'm saying. Is that let's see where we are at his 15th fight, because I think you'll look back in that and it will look like a very good resume. I think we're judging him quite harshly, considering the point of the career he's in. And I don't give a fuck about his amateur fights, because that's got nothing to do with his professional record as far as I'm concerned. His career is still in the infancy.
And I agree with that.
His career is still in its infancy, so we're judging him like a fighter who's had 30 fights, not, what is it now? Was that 10, 9?
Well, and the thing is, if you're a world champion, you're a world champion. You're ready to fight the best. Period.
Oh, yeah. But are we saying that this comes to another point? Is like, we're saying that Sosa wasn't a good enough opponent, but like Sosa had done enough to get to that position. So are we saying that it's no point? Sosa might as well not box because he's not allowed to fight Lomachenko because he's too good.
That's not what I'm saying, Leon. What I'm saying is,
but there's people
and the
people have made out about. Before this fight was
what Lomachenko did. What Lomachenko did.
You gotta let him talk. please.
Just a second. Just
let
let me finish.
I haven't even fucking talked.
Oh.
Yeah, just let me say
Leon.
one last thing. All I'm saying is I heard a lot of people criticising the fight beforehand like it was Sosa's fault.
It's not. It's not his fault. Go ahead.
He fought to get into that position. Go ahead, Nelto. Your turn.
Yeah, he fought to get in the position to be the fucking mandatory for Corrales, not for fucking Lomachenko. That's what Brashok did, and Lomachenko ducked his ass. But that's besides the point. Lomachenko did versus Sosa what he was fucking supposed to do. He didn't do anything special in terms of, like, he went above and beyond the Call of Duty and annihilated fucking Sosa. He did a bunch of shit in there for the first few rounds that I personally wasn't fucking impressed with. Once he completely got traction, like from the fourth round on, then yeah, he was starting to look pretty impressive, and he eventually broke him down and broke the guy's will and everything. But I mean, he was supposed to do something like that. This is the same guy that fucking Walters dominated and got a bullshit draw against.
But we all knew. No one's saying he was world class. Not saying that he was an elite. He's an elite looking fighter. The performance was he beat a guy he was meant to beat. Yeah, we all agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the same type level of opponent that a lot of other people are slaying other fighters for fighting. You know, Terence Crawford got a bunch of shit for fighting fucking John Molina.
I think a bigger issue.
Not here he didn't though. That's my
Molina.
point. Not here. I don't care about anywhere else. I'm talking about here.
Go ahead, Don.
No, John Molina, I wouldn't compare John Molina to Sosa. That's a disservice.
John Molina beat Provodnikov, and Sosa beat Fortuna as he was getting his ass kicked the entire fight.
Obviously, we don't know the entire business side of it, but a lot of the problem seems to be where, you know, his team are making offers to boxers, and they're looking at risk reward because they're thinking, well, if I'm going to be fighting the top guy in the division that might school my ass, then I want a big paycheck, and they are not like dipping into the pocket to pay them. So Loma's team is saying, oh, no one's stepping up to the plate. Even with the Sosa fight, they said, oh, we offered it to this person, offered it to that person. They didn't want the fight. At least Sosa had the balls to step up, blah, blah, blah. So that is part of the problem where either they're not paying enough, so he just seems to be hanging around in one division. No one else is to fight. Okay, I'll step up and go up again. Where I would like to, you know, see unifications because, like, him and Gervonta Davis would be a great fight. Obviously, the Berchel fight would be really good, and it's a shame that it seems to be like just skipping these fights and just looking to go the next step up. 135, okay. They even talk about 140 at the moment, but I think they just need to slow the roll a bit. Not because I don't.
It's because of promotional issues, Cam. Is why I think they do that, because I doubt that him versus Davis would ever happen, simply because I don't think Mayweather would want to risk Davis against an Arum fighter. And that's
ready for that fight.
Well, there you go. And then on the reverse end is the Arum's not going to let him anywhere near Mikey Garcia. Even if Arum thought it was a 50-50 fight, he's not going to risk one of his fighters losing to a Heyman fighter the way that Mayweather beat Pacquiao. That's the reason why he delayed that fight for years on end. And he'll do it again with Lomachenko and Garcia. He'll just mention Mikey Garcia's name every time Lomachenko has a fight as his possible next opponent, so that everybody gets hyped up for no reason.
Okay. Anyone else regarding this Lomachenko-Sosa fight?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say one more thing, Cam. Like, it's really not like I'm criticizing the guy, because there's things that are very positive about Lomachenko as well. Like the fact that he faced Salido in his second professional fight, and the fact that he's facing the guys now for a 7th and 8th and 9th fight is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But on the other hand, it's like if you win a belt, you know, at a young age, to then say like, oh yeah, but I'm champion, but I'm not really. Like, you're going to be held up to that standard, right? If you are creating a sort of climate around this guy, you know, where you're comparing him to the greats of our time and past, like, HBO is fucking loony with this shit, right? They're throwing Pernell Whitaker in the mix, you know, like, they've gone crazy.
But Willie Pep doesn't have an offense like Lomachenko. Oh my
but
God!
But why do you listen to casuals? I said it to Cam before. Why listen to casuals?
Well, Jim Lampley's not a casual.
But Leon, I'm just saying.
Casual attitude.
Leon, I am just saying, people are judging his talent, yeah, and a little bit his accomplishment, way beyond what it truly is, and that's all I'm saying. And I see the potential, man. The guy's fucking talented. Said that 5 times now.
Here's my answer: people are fucking stupid, so don't listen to them.
But I think there's also something to be said that if you think that he at least has he has a chance of reaching those kind of like, aspirations that you guys are alluding to, especially with the current state of, I think the pound for pound is bullshit myself, but I think just the current crop of fighters isn't as good as it was 5-10 years ago. So I don't think it's ludicrous to say that, you think he's the best fighter right now just because the rest of the crop of fighters just isn't very strong.
Leon, like Lampley, he's not a casual, but he's a company man. Obviously, he's got agendas.
That's what I meant with a casual out.
Yeah.
Selling a casual storyline.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's not even
but
just him, Kellerman, Hopkins.
It's not just
Jones,
it's not just Lampley on HBO.
The whole cast and crew.
Yeah, but it's not just them, man. It's quite a lot of people that are doing it. I'm not saying you specifically, guys, but it's just,
I know. I'm not saying that you're saying to me. I'm just saying don't listen.
Yeah, but another thing.
I mean that's a narrative though that I think legitimately should be countered if we have any integrity. Is what I'm saying. If I feel like I have integrity, I feel like if somebody's saying something that's incorrect and is justifiably so, then I'm gonna try and counter it.
You see, this is what fucking worse, man. We all like watching Loma fight. And yet we're all still having these debates because other people, it's there's so many different viewpoints, and it all stems back from Floyd and Manny's fans and Triple G fans and now Lomachenko fans. Fuck, man, it's so hard to just appreciate the fighter for what he is, but rather we have to just attack these niches of fucking people who live on Twitter, coming up with this bullshit. But I don't know. If Lomachenko steps up to 35, it is what?
It's not only that, because we were frustrated with the guy at one point as well, that after he lost to Salido and beat Russell Jr., he basically fought 4 guys that we were not interested in, right? And then it's like, okay, which one is it? Now you're building up your resume, but before you were like an established champion. Like, which one is it? Like, we were all frustrated with that stuff as well, man. You can't lie about that.
What do you mean the 4 guys? Who are you alluding to?
I'm referring to after he beat Russell Jr., right? Yeah. There were 4 fights. I mean, I can read them off BoxRec if you want.
Yeah, please do.
There was the Macau
Pira
fight.
Papinho, Rodriguez, Coesha, and Roman Martinez. I mean, I was not fucking excited about those guys. Were you?
No, I agree with that. But at the same time, the Roman Martinez fight, I think is somewhat defensible just because at least he moved up a weight class, and admittedly so, it was an easy belt for him to snatch. And then, like we both agree upon, the Walters fight was defensible. So I'm okay with it.
I mean, the Roman Martinez fight, it was a bell grab. It is what it is. But
was it not his first fight at that weight class?
Yeah, it was.
And belt grabs are belt grabs. You're right, and we have a right to criticize them. It's just not. It's not the first guy to do this.
And something that I brought up repeatedly last year was Roman Martinez owed Burchelt that fight. It was signed, it was delivered, he was his mandatory, it was going to happen, and then 2 weeks before the fight, Martinez pulls out and he fights Lomachenko instead. And then when it comes time for Burchelt to fight Lomachenko, they say, fuck you, you being interim champion doesn't make you a mandatory for shit.
Nyota.
So he fights Vargas instead.
Nyota, you're my boy, but why do you hate Lomachenko so much?
I don't. I'm holding him to the same standard that everybody else gets held to.
Okay, but do you know what the offer was for Burchelt, though? They offered him something, right?
No, they didn't. They didn't make Burchelt an offer at all. They made Corrales one, they made a Salido one, but I'm not sure what those were.
Okay. All right.
Anyway. I still say he's 10 fights in, man. I say got to give him a fucking shot. I think you look at it in 6-7 fights and see what that resume is like. And if it's still full of the names that Chemo read off, then you've got every right to criticize it.
Well, I'm not even saying that he can't necessarily be the pound for pound one day. I just think that people are being extremely premature with naming him as such right now. If he was to go on a 3-fight winning streak and waste the Burchelt, Corrales, then move up and beat Mikey Garcia, guess what? Guess where he's probably going to be put?
You can't blame people for hanging on to a defeat from an Uber driver. Eh? Let's not forget. That's all I'm going to say.
No, that's not fair. Delete the 5-star rated Uber driver, bro. Not fair at all.
He does a fantastic service.
That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, he's never late. He's always on time. His destinations always arrive before the ETA. He's spot on, bro.
He knows the roles that
He's probably VIP by now.
Anyways, let's move on. Enough of this bullshit. This is making me angry. Let's talk about Gvozdich, right? That's how you pronounce his name, Alexander Gvozdich. Gvozdik, I don't know. His name, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say one thing about Lomachenko.
Yep.
Quickly,
Go for it. Yep.
I'm not the most technical guy, but whenever he attacks, he's always moving to the right. Did anyone else notice that?
Yeah.
Always to the right. So if you get a clever guy who's a tactical, got good corner, tactical guy, you could set traps for him.
Because he does. Like Salido did?
Yeah, because he does jump over quite a lot to the right, doesn't he, when he attacks? That's just one thing I noticed.
I think Walters was stepping across as well early on against his fight. He didn't really use it effectively. He didn't counter or nothing. But yeah, you make a good point, Leon. Like, I don't know though. He's so tricky though. Even like just stepping across, it's like if he's gonna throw, like you have to either block and counter or something. And I don't know. I think even just stepping across.
What Lomachenko does really cleverly is he'll mask that tendency to step to the right by kind of jumping over to the left too, even though he's not going to follow up with any punches as he does it because he's not in position. But I think he's able to trick a lot of guys just with the sheer speed that he's able to do with it.
But if someone's got a granite chin and they're brave enough to, you can punch where you think he's going to be, right? And he's not a big enough puncher, so if you can stand your ground and take what he's doing, there's something to be done there. I'm not saying anyone can do it, but it's open.
And the thing is,
I'd imagine that's why Lim. Go ahead.
I think that's the only thing we don't know about Mikey is what his chin is like. That's it. That's why I think that fight is so fascinating.
You can say the same for Lomachenko to a degree.
You know what I mean? He got dropped by Roman Martinez. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a flash knockdown, but.
Just talking about Mikey, does anyone realistically see this happening though? That fight in the future?
No, I don't see it happening until they're both like freaking 35 or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't seem viable unless they become the two biggest superstars in the sport. It's not going to happen.
I'm just so depressed that we're even having that conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it says a lot about our sport.
Why can't we just dream about it?
Yeah. I mean, Aaron's been doing it with Crawford too. He's been saying like, "Oh, Crawford will fight Mikey Garcia." No, he's not going to fight fucking Mikey Garcia. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. All right, Dan.
But what's Mikey's situation? He's not a Heyman fighter, right? He's just a free agent.
Garcia? No, he's a Heyman fighter. He's just he's a free agent promotionally speaking.
But he's managed by Heyman.
Correct.
And it doesn't look like he would want to work with Bob in the future, to be honest. So. But but Lim, you were talking about Gvozdik, so you want to take the lead?
Sure. Yeah. He's really, really good. The only thing is, like we mentioned in the past, was the fight that he had, not his last fight, but the one before Chilumba. I was really nervous about Gvozdik because I've always been super high on him. But the fight that he had before Chilumba, I think, did he get dropped or did he just get hurt? But he was visibly hurt. It wasn't like a flash situation.
Yeah.
So
Karpenski.
I've always been nervous about what his punch resistance is like. But I think he's improved a lot since that fight. Actually, if you watch that Karpenski fight versus the Chilumba fight and the Gonzalez fight, he's much more disciplined in terms of how he dictates range. And I don't know what his reach is like, but I really like how conservative he is in a lot of situations. And he's got scary power, man. Like I've heard that when he used to spar Kovalev, especially for the war build-up, like he was getting they were like 50-50 sparring matches against Kovalev. So I think he's ready for that opposition. I only say that because I don't think his punch resistance and that chin is ever going to be something that you could really like improve upon, or I don't think it's something that's going to get helped by like progressively moving him. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that weight division is so top heavy as it is that I wouldn't. Like, I probably want one more fight before he fights the winner of Ward Kovalev, but I wouldn't mind seeing him being thrown in there with either of them. Just do Ward.
Yeah, I mean, most of the best guys in the weight division are big punchers. I mean, even fucking Eleider Alvarez, who hadn't been really knocking very much out, and then he blasted Lucien Bute a few weeks ago. So.
Yeah, but I still think, Bivol obviously is the kingpin of that weight division, though, Cam. So, whoever the fight, they got to get ready for Bivol. But in all honesty, man, I think Bivol obviously is way behind Gvozdik right now, but I think Bivol versus Gvozdik in a couple of fights is going to be a fucking good-ass fight, man. Because like I mentioned, people can catch that.
Possibly. I mean, they're part of the new school that's trying to take over from the old guard, which is like the Kovalev and Ward and Stevenson. So we'll see that clash at least at some point, hopefully.
About homeboy, what's his face, from Canada, Beterbiev.
Yeah. I guess I'll go now. But yeah, Beterbiev, I think a lot of him getting hurt by Karpency was just being, I'd imagine he probably just took him lightly, didn't expect him to have that kind of power, walked into something. You know, sometimes you get hit. Sometimes you get hit with a shot you don't see coming. He got hurt. He recovered from it, and then he stopped Karpency after that. And then, you know, he went on to prove much more against Chilemba and Gonzalez. You know, Gonzalez was fighting his ass off, but it was just too much of everything. Too much speed, too much hand speed, too much foot speed, too much power. Too good and sharp of combinations from Gvozdyk, and I mean he's looking about as dangerous as anybody. I mean he beat the shit out of Gonzalez, who basically should have beat Pascal, and you know he was a guy that ran Shabransky pretty close. What was that, about a year and a half ago, something like that? And you know he beat Chilemba more impressively than Kovalev did. So I mean if you're just looking at whose wins are better recently, I mean Gvozdyk ranks right up there with anybody at the light heavyweight division, including the top three, the three kings at the moment. So I mean, I'd say he's just about ready for anybody. Maybe considering the fact that the Sullivan Barrera versus Arthur Beterbiev fight didn't come off, maybe he could fight Barrera or Beterbiev. I mean, I think either of those fights would be really, really good fights to be made. Although once again, some promotional issues may get involved there, but. Regardless, I mean, like him against either of those two, or even like Lemsed Bivol, I think would be fantastic fights. And I think Gvozdyk could potentially be a guy that takes over the division. To me, it's between him and Beterbiev.
I think if we want to talk about fights not taking place because of promotional issues, I think 175 is the most fucked up weight division in the sport.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the most fractured.
I can't imagine him fighting somebody like what's his name? The guy that Beterbiev was supposed to fight because he refused his offer from Beterbiev. So if he didn't take an offer from Beterbiev, why the fuck would he take an offer from somebody who's more dangerous? Well, not more dangerous, but
I mean, I think Gvozdyk has HBO backing, which is better than Beterbiev, which is kind of like half-assed PBC backing. Because I mean, I'll be frank, his PBC backing is pretty half-assed in comparison to a lot of the other fighters on PBC.
Well, anytime you're sponsored by that crusty ass bitch, Kathy Duva, you're not in a good situation.
I was gonna say, I think she's part of the reason.
Watch your fucking mouth, man.
I think she's part of the reason, like, fights don't get done.
She's the worst, man.
Yeah.
God damn, she's terrible.
Sexist pig.
God, you guys are haters.
Now, but Kimo, looking back in hindsight, some of your previews from Friday's show were on point. We talked about Williams. We're probably going to get into Usyk, but yeah, your thoughts on Gvozdyk were pretty on point as well.
I was pretty damn on point, wasn't I? For the first time ever.
Yep. One off.
Hey, are you not going to give me props to my Lomachenko prediction?
Yeah.
I swear, I called the 9th round stoppage, bro.
Did you put money on it, though?
Yeah, you got lucky, though.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Cam, Gvozdyk is he's a very, very exciting guy to watch. Yeah, everything I said last show. I mean, I fucking love the way he controls the range. He's really good at keeping himself in the correct range to just let his combinations off, man. Even when the guy is like hurt and flailing about, like he will take that little extra step and he'll just let him fly, man. It's very exciting to watch. Having actually rewatched that knockdown that Lim was talking about, I do fear the chin a little bit, but fuck it, man. That makes it more exciting. You know what I mean? The reason why I love watching Khan always is because you don't know when the fuck shit's going to go down. And I have that feeling a little bit with Gvozdyk as well. But in this particular fight, he was extremely in control. He was fantastic, man. And yeah, said it before, I'll say it again. That right hand is gorgeous. It's probably the best one after Mikey Garcia. It's balanced, it's crisp, it's smooth, it's sharp. He fucking just hits it so beautifully. And man, actually, I mentioned him against Sullivan Barrera. It's a nice fucking fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that stylistically. Probably quite tactical in the beginning, but I would love to see that. Yeah. Really, really. Man, the division just keeps on getting better, actually. Somehow you seem to getting these fighters just flocking in, and we got to see some goddamn fights. I know it's promotional issues.
Badu Jackson?
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. That motherfucker. If he faces Gvozdyk, though, he's going to sleep. I'll tell you that.
Man, dude, once Badu's in that division, he's going to terrorize that division, bro. Especially with that TMT backing, dog. Oh, shit.
Isn't he with Memo?
Oh,
I think he is.
fuck. I forgot about that, too, bro. He's a killer.
Bro.
Oh, shit.
He's going to bang.
Leon,
He's gonna bang, bro.
Leon, your thoughts on Gvozdyk?
He looked good, but that Gonzalez, he was the one who should have beaten Pascal, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was tailor-made for him, though, wasn't he? He was just like a head first zoomer, wasn't he? He was just like so easy to hit. It was just head down, walk forward.
No,
I wasn't impressed with him at all. He was just doing nothing.
I mean, he was,
beaten.
but you got to remember. I mean, Pascal was hitting him with some nice Sunday punches, and he wasn't able to get rid of him.
Oh yeah,
Pascal's
no, it's impressive, but I mean, it was a bit like target practice at that point. I felt. No, he's very good.
I wasn't impressed with his hair either. Jesus Christ.
No, like half a haircut.
He got ripped off.
Yeah, I don't know where these guys are going to the barbershop, whatever. But Lomachenko, Usyk, and Gvozdyk's hairdos are pretty awful.
But it's another good win. So I think he looks very good. But like Kimo, I think there's some vulnerability there. So, but that's no bad thing. Exactly like Kimo said. So.
No, I echo that.
The division gets better. It's a good division.
I echo that, and that's why I'm not jumping on the bandwagon, because the day I jump on the wagon, he'll get starched out. So for his own, success, I'm going to stay off the bandwagon. But yeah, I was
very generous of you, Cam.
Yeah, it is. But I was impressed with his performance. I thought he was very good. Like the straight punches were excellent, and Gonzalez was pretty poor. And you're right, Leon. Like his guard was pretty poor. He was trying to evade punches with his hands low and just trying to roll off the punches and just getting caught. But one thing I got to give him his props for, which is a bit backhanded, is at least he went for it. Like he gambled and thought, "Fuck it," because in the first two rounds, his right hand was so telegraphed. Gvozdyk could see it coming, and he wasn't getting any success. So he thought, you know what, I'm not going to be able to, outfight this guy over 10 rounds. I'm just going to go for it. So in the third, he just went for it, gambled. It didn't pay off. But a lot of guys these days, they would have just shut up shop and just high guard and done nothing and just lost to a 10-0.
But I think if you look at that card, all the opponents that lost, they all came to fight. I don't think anyone can complain about the effort of those people that fought, who were fighting against the Ukrainians. We'll get to Usyk, but he definitely came to fight.
No, that is true, man. Those guys came to fight, and I'm done with the Gvozdyk, and we can move on to Usyk unless anyone else has got anything left about the Gonzalez-Gvozdyk fight.
Yeah, it was just so brave, wasn't he?
Classy.
I just wanted to say, I don't know, the way that Gvozdyk puts it together in terms of the foot movement and putting his punches together, he's the most impressive of the three to me, because he integrates everything precisely, and he doesn't waste time. He gets in there, he gets it done, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's what I like, man. There's no excess movement. There's just enough to make the guy miss and make him pay. Yeah,
that's a pro style right there.
Yeah, he really turns from the waist.
He's got a beautiful jab.
His punches are not wide at all. But Kimo, let's talk about another guy you were pretty on point with. Usyk's performance was, I was going to say underwhelming, but I think that's not giving Hunter enough credit, because I thought Hunter was excellent.
Yeah, he was a lot better than everybody expected, right? I mean, I really did not know the guy, so I can't really judge. I have to be honest.
I did say that you should watch out.
I told you so, motherfuckers.
Yeah, you did. We gotta give you props.
Gosh, dude, I'm just so honored you're on Boxing Geniuses, man. Kimo's so good at this stuff. Nauta knows so much about boxing. This is awesome, man.
Yeah.
You sound a little bit
such a dick.
Anyway, let me just get this out of the way quick, because I'm going to go to sleep after this. I still think that Usyk is fucking overrated. I don't know why everybody's so hyped about this guy. And if you compare Loma, I've said this before, if you compare Loma and Gvozdyk, with him, I think there's almost miles extra boxing talent with these two guys. And Usyk is just a fantastic athlete, but he's not impressive to watch. I don't think he's as skilled as people make him out to be. And yeah, I don't really. I'm not even interested in seeing them fight, to be honest. I mean, I got fucking bored. I don't know about you guys, but the guy really does not do it for me in the ring. So, yeah, don't really have much to say about it.
And are you going to head off now?
Yeah, man, I'm going to go to sleep.
All
Good
right,
show,
man.
guys. I'll
Thank
talk
you
to
for jumping
soon.
on, bro.
Latest chemo.
Say Kimo.
Who wants to go next? Leon, your thoughts on the Usyk performance and Hunter's performance?
I thought, well, firstly, I did enjoy the fight, and I thought Hunter did very well early on. But I mean, he got to him in the end, but it was scrappy, wasn't it? He didn't start really kind of styling on him till the last couple. But Hunter really came to fight. So you got to give Usyk some credit for getting through a difficult start to a fight. I mean, no one's saying that he's never going to be in tough fights. I don't think the bandwagon had got that over the top. Actually, that's bollocks. Some people said he was going to go up and school everyone at heavyweight, and that was always a bit of a stretch for me. But, I don't think it's a performance to be overly critical of. Was it perfect? No, but it was still... he was in a competitive fight, which is a good thing. We don't know how good that guy is either, because he's got a weird record. He might go on this win could look good in a year or so, couldn't it?
Yeah, because he supposedly was very inactive and he had a long layoff. But no, Hunter impressed me. He's quite awkward in his style, and he kind of out Usyk early on because he was like punching and moving, a lot of jabs. He was doing the Loma thing as well, where it's like a lot of tippy tapper punches and then move away. Where Loma will do a lot of tippy taps and then he'll, especially like the later version of Loma in the last few fights, he'll sit down on some punches and really dig some in. Where I don't know. Looking back, I think it is probably a mental thing as well, because he did fade, and maybe the reason why he was doing a lot of tippy-tap punches, Hunter, was because if he would have, put weight behind him, he would have gassed a lot sooner, because he did fade towards the end of the fight. I did a lot closer. Sorry,
I was going to say, but don't you think, because that's Usyk started to go to the body a bit more, I think he slowed him down, because I think that was some of his best work was to the body, that kind of uppercut to the body.
Yeah, that's fair, because it's that uppercut, especially the one they replayed where he just slipped it and the uppercut right into the midsection was excellent. But
yeah, that was a mean one, man. He caught every bit of that shot.
Definitely. But yeah, Hunter was busy, but there were a lot of arm punches, man. There was not a lot of weight behind him, and Usyk did start coming back into the fight. But early on, he looked a bit clueless at parts, and he was kind of looking at the ref. There was a point, I think, Naota, you recorded it and sent it to me, where like there was no official kind of
like breaking of the clinch,
from the referee, and like Hunter kind of hooked off it and hit him, and he looked at him like, "What are you doing that for?" Almost like a bit almost childish, like stamping his feet. But that's
like
the
that's
game,
against
man.
the rules.
Yeah, you have to protect yourself at all times. But
yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a good performance from Hunter. Slightly disappointing from Usyk, but I'm not judging him off one performance. It's weird because I'm a bit of a Usyk fanboy, and I'm against Gvozdyk, where it's weird. Like maybe I'll be completely wrong and Usyk will fall off, or maybe I'll be right, and against the right opponents he'll be able to step up. But it was definitely a poorish performance. I was disappointed. But what was people's thoughts on the 12th round? Should it have been stopped?
You know me, Cam.
Nah, I mean,
nope.
No, man. If somebody's still like throwing back, I mean, he was still throwing back even though he was all over the place. Nah.
I thought it was okay.
I say give somebody every chance that you can.
Yeah, I thought it was okay because I had the fight close. I only had it 150-112. I think the judges were a bit lenient towards Usyk because I had it 4-0 up until the 5th, and then the first round to give to Usyk was the 5th. So
you know what? I probably had the same scorecard as you then, Ken.
Yeah. I think I had the same scorecard.
So I think it was decent that he gave him a chance, because maybe if he would have got through it and not got that standing 8, he could have got a draw out of it in someone who's not a fucking judge that is quite biased because I think all three of them had it 117, 111 or something like that. I don't know, but I think they were a bit too wide for my liking.
Yeah.
But Lim, did you
Yes,
manage to
same
catch
here.
Lim, did you catch this fight? I know we were discussing it with you over the weekend. I was anyway. Lim, are you still there?
Come on, Kim. You know the answer to that question.
I don't actually
I was
know.
talking to you I was on a drive.
I know, but did you go back and watch?
Of course not.
Casual.
Big
all right.
sauce, Slim.
Anything else regarding this card then?
Well, I'll give a little bit more about Usyk and Hunter. I mean, I was actually fairly impressed with Usyk considering the amount of the different kind of looks that Hunter was giving him. You know, I thought Usyk pulled through against what, you know, I definitely consider now. Before it was more me being speculative as to how good Hunter was, but I think he's a solid cruiserweight. You know, and I think like say Usyk decides to move up to heavyweight and try and chase the big riches, I could very easily see Hunter picking up a belt. Whether he'd be like a dominant champion at cruiserweight would be another story, but at the same time, you know, I think this was a solid win for Usyk, and you know, hopefully we'll get to see him against somebody like a Gassiev or Brady's, and I mean, otherwise, I don't like Usyk's chances as a heavyweight, and especially not after that fight with Hunter, because as much as Hunter was able to be kind of tricky in there are heavyweights that can be a little bit tricky like that, and maybe not quite as wily as Hunter was early on, but they pack in a lot more power. And so when those shots come, they're coming heavy, you know, and I just can't see Usyk doing anything with the likes of like Joshua, Wilder, etc. really. So,
But
for his sake.
I still give him a good chance of unifying this division, and I'm not saying he definitely does it, because he might get some tough fights, but he could
he certainly
quite easily become a very, very good cruiserweight. You know, like a very well thought after cruiserweight in like history sense. You know, the potential's there.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some great cruiserweights in the past. O'Neal, Beck, John Mark Mormick. You know, back around those days, just before David Haye came on the scene. You know, there's been some pretty good cruiserweights.
No more.
Could be another one.
All right. Obviously, we had that show on Friday, so we covered a lot of news on that one. I think that was a 3-hour show almost. But only two pieces of news I've really seen between then and today were two fight announcements. Kali Sauerland put out a tweet saying they're going to formally announce George Groves versus Fedor Chudinov. No information on the date or the venue, but he said it's going to be in the UK. So George has got home advantage. I don't know, Leon. The Joshua Klitschko card's looking pretty weak.
Oh, that is horrible, isn't it?
Do you think this will be able to sneak on there, or do you think the Sauerlands won't want their own show somewhere, maybe at Wembley Arena?
There was some talk of it, like whispers of it around, but I don't think that's gonna. There's not enough time, is there?
There isn't, unless they knew that the fight was going to happen and there was some
stuff,
and they have been training.
If they do, that would be a big help for Eddie, but not enough, because let's be honest, George Groves is kind of. Is this a real belt? Or, I get confused. Is this an actual belt, or is it a silly belt?
I think Fedor Chudinov has got looking at super middleweight. I don't know.
He has the interim, regular, mini, junior, like fucking WBA title, doesn't he?
I almost want to just start saying like the WBA is not even a world title these days, because they're just on some bullshit.
It just doesn't feel like a big fight. That's what I'm saying. Like he's fallen off a bit.
What kills me about it is how many people want to say that, like, oh, like the WBO is the one that we shouldn't be recognizing. Fuck that. The WBA has been freaking playing so loose with their rules. You know, I'm ready to drop them.
I say we drop them and like promote the IBO.
Yeah, see, at least the IBO has legit rankings.
Yeah, but Leon, all jokes aside, if that fights are like SSE Arena or something, is that something that you'd go to, or not really interested?
Yeah, I'll go to that. I'd go to that, I think he could win. I think he should win this fight. I mean,
yeah, but then
he really should be winning
George
this
Groves
fight.
is a world
but
champion.
he was so bad against Murray, wasn't he? He was horrible against Murray.
But Leon, if he wins it, then George Groves is a world champion.
Well, look, that's all he's ever wanted. So then, hopefully, look, you hope he wins because you want the De Gale fight, don't you?
I think we should get the De Gale fight regardless, but yeah, I just don't want him to be a world champion. I know it sounds bitter and that, but because he'll have that forever. Like when he's fucking retired, they'll say, "Oh, former world champion George Groves," and then he'll have that little cheeky weird smile he's got. You
hate him because he's ginger, isn't it? Is that why, Cam?
Nah.
I'm joking. No, he's a bit. He turned into a bit of a paranoid wreck after he got beaten by Frotch the second time, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and all the shit he said about Paddy as well, man. That was unnecessary. And
let's be honest, he's never looked as good as he did in that first Frotch fight, has he?
No.
Never since. Like that soul was. I hate to say it, but he got snatched by the Cobra, didn't it?
You at that fight as well, the first one, weren't
you? Yeah.
So was I. Yeah, I remember that.
Riots, weren't there? Neil Riots.
Yeah, that's Manchester for you, though. Neil to Lim, you're probably not really bothered about this fight, are you?
What fight was it again?
This is
exactly.
Fede, yeah. You pretty much Fede Chudinov fighting George Groves.
Oh, Chudinov Groves. I'd favor Groves. I mean, I've never really thought much of Chudinov. I mean, Groves does look a bit, skittish nowadays, but I mean, he fought pretty hard against Jack, and Jack proved to be the kind of the man of the division after he beat the living shit out of De Gale, and didn't get the decision that he rightfully deserved. So I think Groves still has something, really. I mean, and that might be due to the overall. This is not necessarily greatest quality at super middleweight, but at the same time, I still think Groves is one of the top operators there.
And the other piece of news was Luke Campbell's fighting Dalis Perez on that Joshua Klitschko card, which I actually think is a pretty decent fight. A good step up for Campbell after, he's kind of after that Mendy fight, he's been a bit in the black hole a bit. He's fighting.
Why are we not getting that though, Cam? That's the fight that people actually are interested in. And no one else is interested in him other than that, I think, really.
I agree. I think that's the fight we should be getting, but we're not, so...
Wait, so
you're right.
What the heck are you getting?
I don't know. I think the Perez fight's not too bad.
No. Look, I thought you were saying that like it wasn't going to be televised or something, like on the card.
No. It's just we want him to go back and fight the guy he lost to.
Yeah, so we're saying that you should rematch Mendy and then kind of beat him and then go onwards rather than... Because it does seem like he is ducking that Mendy rematch.
Yeah,
but look,
that's true. I mean, like all the shit that I was talking about with Lomachenko and all that stuff, it applies to this guy too. If you feel like you're better than somebody that beat you, go back and you get that loss corrected.
But it's still a good fight, though. Obviously, like
it's okay, but I don't think Perez kind of... He didn't look good against Crawler, did he?
The first fight, they were both tentative.
He looked really good against Hooker.
Yeah, the first one, they were both tentative. The second one, that body shot destroyed him. But against Hooker, he was so unlucky to get that draw because he convincingly won that fight.
That's true.
But
yeah, he basically knocked off, or he should have knocked off a prospect. So I'd say that qualifies him at the very least to be close to the level of another prospect, basically, Campbell.
I just think it's a decent fight. Yeah, he should be fighting Mendy, but if he's not, I'd rather have this than fight, Derry Matthews type guy again, because I don't know, he has been in a bit of a black hole.
It's a good fight, but it's not. That card is fucking dog shit, isn't it? I mean, this is not the thing that's going to save that pay-per-view card, because I know it's all about the main event, but he's really putting very little money into this card, isn't he?
He's getting a lot of profit from this because he's not invested that much into it. Like,
look at all those TBAs. Katie Taylor versus TBA.
You were shocked, right? You were shocked when I told you to have a look at that today, weren't you? Like that was piss poor, wasn't it?
Jesus.
For a pay-per-view.
2 debuts.
Remember some of the quality of pay-per-views you used to get in the States sometimes, and still sometimes now, is just so much higher.
Even like the top-ranked TV, like deep undercards, like the 4 fights that don't even get shown on TV, that you have to go on in the internet to look at, are better than this card.
You know, it's crazy though. Like Joe Cordina on his debut, Josh Kelly on his debut, Lawrence Okolie, well, I think it'll be his 3rd fight by then. Katie Taylor, fair enough, but then it's like Campbell, and then the Scott Quigg fight, which is not that good.
But look, do you know what's happened, Cam? He used to say, it's a stacked card, right? Stacked card, and it'd be a massive long card of all his A-list fighters in kind of stay busy fights, right?
Yeah. Maybe
one good fight. The casuals and the Matchroom kind of real, the cult, you know, the people who really just think everything done is amazing. There's so many of them now that he's just gone, they don't care if it's stacked. I'm going to take away all the names and just fill it with prospects. And
the prospect's a name, Leon.
Yeah, and then maybe a Quigg. And they don't care. So then we're looking at it and going, well, and everyone's going, oh, it's 20. They put the price up, and then he's going, oh, but 20 quid, it's the same price as a pizza or some pint. It's not the point.
Yeah,
the money isn't the point.
Yep.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, I'm noticing Lawrence Okolie is still scheduled to fight on the 15th as well. I don't know if he's fighting this weekend in Scotland.
Yeah, he's supposed to be on that card. But yeah, like you said, what if he picks up a cut or something and he's going to be off that card anyway?
No, but not even that. But like the fact that he has 2 TBAs lined up. One, it's the week of the fight that he's supposed to be having right now. And then one for the 29th. Who the hell is he going to be fighting? He's going to be fighting like that Brian King looking motherfucker that fought this weekend.
Yeah, but then I think they're just taking a leaf out of Gary Russell's playbook, because that's what he did for a good couple of years. To your point though, you are correct, man. It's pretty bad that they not even got opponents lined up. Yeah. That's what it'll be though. It'll be like nobody's until like the 10th fight, and then they'll have a step-up fight or half a step-up because.
And I mean, not even just him, but like Taylor doesn't have an opponent yet. Cordina and Kelly don't. I mean, I guess with them it's a little more reasonable because it's debuts, but still, it's the month of the damn fight, so they're basically going to get somebody that hasn't even really been training.
Yep. But I almost think that's what Eddie wants though, because he wants the casuals just to see a knockout and cheer and go, yeah, British guy knocked some dude out, woohoo.
No, it's true. It's true.
Anyway,
it's true. It's just so disappointing.
You guys got anything else you want to talk about before we preview upcoming week?
No.
I figured I mentioned the PBC card that happened yesterday. Josecito Lopez got a decision win. Pretty good fight. Dropped Saul Corral in the last round. I mean, Josecito Lopez is basically like a gatekeeper, a fringe gatekeeper type fighter nowadays. Unfortunately, even though I thought he was actually beating Berto up until Berto managed to clock him with that shot and finish him, but it's neither here nor there. Alejandro Luna, light welterweight / lightweight prospect, beat the crap out of Andrei Klimov. Klimov actually put up pretty good resistance, generally speaking, but I mean, Luna, I'd imagine, might be fairly close to a potential title shot, maybe in like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. 21-0 looks like a pretty solid prospect. And then there was 2 pro debuts from 2016 Olympians. One from Mexican Olympian Lindolfo Delgado, who was debuting at 140, got a 3rd round TKO. Looked pretty good, solidly like he did in the Olympics. He was the guy that actually gave I'm Not Wrong his loss in the trials. And then Carlos Balderas, the one that we reported on last year, where he basically got robbed against the fighter from Cuba in the quarterfinals, and really probably could have easily won the gold medal because I think he was much better than Robinson Conceição as well, and he did a really solid job. Finished his opponent in the 1st round. Excellent win for a pro debut. Beat the crap out of this guy Thomas Smith and made him retire after 1 round. And I mean, he's looking like he's going to be a really solid fighter at lightweight. So it'd be real fun to watch the career progression of guys like him and Delgado and Teofimo Lopez, another guy that had pro debuts recently. It's nice to see a lot of these Olympians really kind of hit the ground running and getting some of these TV dates.
Thank you, Neota. All right, we'll get on to next week. Lynn mentioned his boy Bivol before, and he's fighting this week. He's fighting at the same venue that Lomachenko and the Ukrainians fought at, the MGM National Harbour. I just quickly in that venue, it's crazy because you got one of the best boxers in the world and like two other really highly rated boxers, and they were fighting in like a 3,000 seat arena. And like if Lomachenko comes to Manchester and fights Flanagan, it's like 20,000 people. Boxing is so unappreciated in the States these days, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, he's fighting Samuel Clarkson. I don't know who this guy is, and I looked at his record. I don't recognise any other names. He's fought apart from Reiko Saunders, who's kind of like a journeyman, and only reason I know him because he fought Kev's boy Shawnee Monahan, and he's basically just a journeyman. But yeah, it's the same venue, undercard. Don't recognise any names, so unless you guys got anything to add about Bivol, we can move on.
I mean, nothing to add other than it's going to be on Showtime, Showbox card. So I'm sure a couple of those other fights will be pretty good. I mean, you got I noticed on the card 2 fights where both fighters are undefeated, a welterweight fight and a featherweight fight. So, Showbox tends to put pretty good matchups together. So I'm expecting at the very least the undercard to be solid, if not the main event, which Bivol should probably be able to take care of Samuel Clarkson fairly handily.
Okay, and on the Saturday we got Sullivan Barrera. We were talking about him earlier as well when we mentioned the lightweight division against Paul Parker. And I had to look up Paul Parker, and remember he fought Shabaranski last year, I think it was. It's in 2015. He had a really successful first round, dropped Shabaranski twice. He's very long and rangy, pretty tall for the weight, and very big reach. And yeah, he caught Shabaranski with a right hand over the top, hurt him, dropped him. He got up, dropped him again, and Shabaranski really regrouped well in the second, and he was just coming forward with straight punches. And I don't know if Parker kind of mentally collapsed a bit, or because he looked tired in the third when he finally got stopped. He just let the pressure, the punches came, he turned his back, and the ref stopped it, and he didn't really make an argument, so I think he was kind of happy to get out of it. But in theory, triangle theories I know don't always work out, but Barrera has probably got better straighter punches than Shabaranski, especially after the fact that he stopped him in December last year. So you think that Barrera is going to do a job on Parker, but I don't know, like Barrera himself got dropped by Shabaranski in the second round of their fight, so maybe Paul Parker might get lucky, catch him with a clean right hand, and who knows, might be a fun fight, just like the Barrera-Shabaranski fight was, because that was late last year, and it was quite an enjoyable scrap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and not to mention, Parker did hurt and drop Shabaranski before he himself got stopped, so it looks like he carries a bit of power himself, possibly early on, so if Barrera's not wary of that, he might be on the receiving end of that upset special. But this card's going to be on HBO Latino, so for the people that have that, usually if you have HBO, you'll have that as well. You'll be able to check that fight out, and I'm sure there'll probably be like 1 or 2 other fights on the undercard with Joel Diaz. Usually is the commentator for a lot of those cards. So for you guys that know Spanish, be able to enjoy the musings of a good trainer.
Yep. Lim, Dan, you guys got anything to add? I have got something to say about Barrera, but regarding the fight itself.
No, I don't know this guy, so no. Are we getting it over here, Cam? Even
I'm just having a look now. Actually, I don't know if Box Nation have picked.
I don't think we are.
No, I think it's going to have to be an internet job on Sunday morning or streaming it, which I never do these days.
Yeah, one of them.
You guys don't usually get the HBO cards over there.
But yeah, the point I want to make about Barrera is, what's everyone's thoughts about him and the Beterbiev situation? Because I know like a duck is a duck, but I just think Duva just did really bad business when it came to the initial, going to purse bids, losing the purse bid, and then I think Jim, Yvonne Michel's group won it for like 250k, with the split being 75-25. So Barrera would have got like just over 60k, then you minus off, main events fees, his manager's fees, trainer's fees. basically he's most likely getting knocked out for pennies. So a duck is a duck, but do we give him a pass for like swerving Beterbiev?
It's difficult. She did a bad job, but a duck is a duck, like you say. I mean, it's just he could have said to her, "I want to make a minimum of whatever it was," and she should have put in enough money to cover his minimum. That's what the promoter should be doing, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
So she wasn't. She was thinking, "Well, he's worth less than that." Or were they trying to win it because they would have got more, wouldn't they, if they'd won it? So I mean, it's just maybe a bad bid.
Yeah, I think she just seems like a cheapskate, man. She doesn't want to put in like a decent sized bid where she knows you're going to guarantee it, because obviously then they would have the 75%. But like if you're Barrera, you're probably thinking, well, I got a decent payday against Ward. Why the fuck am I fighting this dangerous dude and only getting 60k? So I kind of understand it. Like, I don't want to give a pass for a duck, but I understand that.
But I can understand it, but he should have been saying to her, if I'm going to he should have a say, right? If we're going to do this fight, I want to be trying to make a minimum of this. So she's got to hedge her bet, thinking she might lose and come up with a better packet, try and come up with a cleverer bid, but she obviously didn't. So that's kind of like, this is how it works. Like, people pulling out of these things, it's just, your team are there to affect this. You can try and get this done. So, I mean, I think if you lose, you lose. And then a duck is a duck.
That's quite poetic.
Right, but I mean, it's just, that's how the system's meant to work.
Yep. Lim, if you're there, you got any view? Nope. Alright, what else we got? Talked about Bivol. We got Ricky Burns. Like Julius Ndongo. Julius Ndongo trying to fight.
Burns
is back.
Oh shit, Dan's
Who's
back
Ricky
as well.
fighting?
He's fighting Julius Ndongo.
Oh shit. Oh man, I wish MB2 was on.
Give us your breakdown of Julius Ndongo, Dan. Very detailed.
I've only seen that knockout punch. I've only seen that crazy knockout punch that he landed against that dude in Russia.
Well, guess what? Guess what, Lim? That's the only footage that exists of Julius Ndongo. So, you know,
all jokes aside, that if you do go on YouTube, like that is the majority of search results. There are other fights. I did look today. There's like a little snippet of a few fights where the guy that's uploaded it has basically recorded his TV from his phone and uploaded like one round.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's hard to study.
It's not great, is it?
From what I've seen, man, I don't know. This
is it in HD cam?
Very not
certainly
much
not
in HD.
Is it in SD?
It's probably lower than that, but just
144p or some shit.
Like in 72p and shit.
Exactly. But just on Ndongo, like from what I've seen from those horrible tapes, but there were a few where he looked okay. The jab was working decent, but there was one fight where he was just leading every shot. Almost was. He's a southpaw, by the way, so he's a brethren. But he was leading with the backhand, as Kimo doesn't like me saying, and really from far out, and then lunging in a bit as well. So you think you're so tall, you got such a big reach. Why are you lunging with that as well? You think he'd be able to shoot the lead and not having to lunge, but the jab is okay. The right hook is very wide, and I was just watching a bit of the Ricky Burns versus Crawford fight, and the times Crawford was in southpaw, he didn't have as much success as he did when Crawford was, beating Ricky quite easily when he was an orthodox, and Ricky did the 1-1 step in 2 quite well against Crawford. It didn't land because Crawford, majority of the time, because Crawford's just so much better. But I think Burns should beat this Ndongo guy quite easy, man. Like he's not that good. Like when he throws the backhand as well, his back foot comes up a bit, so he's off balance slightly and he's losing power on it. And I think that shot against Troyanovsky's kind of like put him up there, but he's not really that good, and I think Burns will win. The only shame is like, as I'm not a Burns fan. I do like him because he's a nice guy, but I'm not a fan of watching him. But if he wins this, then he's gonna have like unified champ at 140, man. It's weird, man, because he's not even that good.
Oh, Scotland's in heaven, aren't they? They're loving this, the Scots.
Plus, Leon, he'll
Yeah,
have
I mean,
the IBO, Leon.
Sorry, go ahead.
He'll have the IBO as well, Leon, because obviously...
So they have 3 belts?
Yeah, because when he beat Ndongo...
IBO.
The IBO belt was on stake for when he beat Troyanovsky.
Well, that's the belt that matters.
Him and Eubank, they're going to be hanging out, with the IBO belts.
Yeah, but...
Flashing on everybody.
Anyone got any thoughts?
But I was just going to say, the thing is, the one... You can't... He did fully ice that Russian guy, but... I'd be surprised if he not burns out, because I think that's the one thing one thing he's definitely shown over the years is that he's a tough bastard, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not knocking Burns out. He might drop him, but I don't think he'll knock him out.
Yeah, well, and the one other name that I really recognize on Ndongo's record is Kaiser Mabuza, who's a guy that got knocked out years back by Zab Judah. So, I mean, considering the fact that Judah knocked him out and Khabib Al-Laverdi knocked him out, whereas Ndongo wasn't necessarily able to do that, I'd say that shot against Troyanovsky was not necessarily a fluke, but I think it was kind of a culmination of things coming together of Troyanovsky not seeing the punch, him fighting like the exact wrong style of opponent. And I mean, the fact that Troyanovsky's chin wasn't necessarily the most tested thing ever as well. I mean, even before he knocked out Keita Obata rocked him,
but it's going to be
pretty badly hurt.
It's going to be the best punch he's ever thrown, probably.
Oh yeah, but I definitely say though.
Yeah, I think he's got.
You don't get knockouts like that very often.
No. I mean, that was, in some senses, there was a sense of a perfect storm. I think is the term, isn't it?
Well, and the thing is with Ricky Burns is he's pretty good at crowding you. So, unless he's able to get that full leverage on that shot, I don't think he's going to be doing that same kind of damage to Burns. So it's really tough. It's really tough to say just because, in Ndongo we haven't really seen him tested very much at all. His one real test really against Troyanovsky ended so damn quick, you can't really draw very much from that. So him versus Burns, I mean, I could see why people would mostly favor Burns just because of the overall experience, the ability to crowd somebody, the resilience, the chin. But I can also kind of see why some people might look at Ndongo almost as in a way the way Pacquiao first stormed onto the scene at super bantamweight and featherweight, just with that speed and that power, that explosiveness, that he could potentially catch Burns early and to do something just crazy and vicious. It's really tough for me to personally call though. I probably favor Burns slightly, but because I think that if anything, Ndongo might, just fight his heart out, fight his ass off or whatever against Burns. And Burns has been, roughed up by guys that haven't even necessarily been the utmost quality of fighter too. So, that's saying something as well. I mean, we do remember he did get roughed up pretty badly by Dejan Zlaticanin, who Mike Garcia just knocked the fuck out. Not to mention Chelo Gonzalez and Ray Beltran and stuff. So, I'd give Ndongo a shot, definitely in this fight.
I can't believe we're still talking about Ricky Burns in depth in the year 2017. This cockroach of boxing, he just doesn't go away, man. This guy's career was over 2 years ago, and we're still talking about him. Fucking crazy, man.
That's the power of Matchroom, though, Dan. If you're in Matchroom, you can be washed up and still be getting the checks to pay off your mortgage.
It's crazy, man. The only thing that I remember of Ricky Burns 10 years from now is him wearing those pink Cleto Reyes gloves, and that's it. and his terrible clothing line, and the night that literally the lights went out in the stadium by Latin Cannon, So, my gosh.
Anyone else, Leon?
No, I got nothing else.
All right, are you gonna?
What else is on that card? Nothing.
As I was gonna say, are you gonna enjoy watching Scotty Cardell as the co-main?
No.
Hey, the return of Charlie Edwards.
I love how they Scotty Cardell's parents are Scottish, but I don't.
That could be a good fight actually. That Butcher versus Edwards actually.
Yeah, I think it's for the vacant Superfly British titles, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that could be good.
Is Butcher any good?
He can box a bit, yeah.
Might be then.
I think that could be a good, British domestic level thing.
I don't know, the rest of it's pretty trash though. Cody's on there as we talked about earlier, and yeah, it's like, Leon, are these Matchroom cards getting worse and worse? Is it just me?
Yeah, I've been saying it for ages now. He's lowering the standard of the cards that we get on Free Sky to make pay-per-views look better, and then he serves up this shit at Wembley, and people are still praising him for it, you know, so he's fucking winning.
He's winning, and he's got people out there on the payroll that are tweeting about the Warren shows saying, look, they're half empty.
Yeah, that I've got to give it to Luke on Twitter, because while we were all raging about the Smiths, he was the one who first noticed this kind of weird Hearn fanboyism going, like people. One guy was going, "Oh, you don't get your value for money at Warren show at Eddie Hearn," and then Jamaica found it that he won the fucking tickets.
What the fuck
he won them? He didn't even pay for them, and he's slating him off. How fucking snide is that?
That's disgusting.
But there was loads of them, and so fair play to Luke for not letting that slip past and dredging those people up, because it's just so weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like desperate for a retweet, man. I mean, what's wrong with people?
How can you be a fanboy of a fucking promoter, man? I understand being a fanboy.
One guy took a picture at 6:30 going, "Oh, the arena's empty." Of course the arena's empty at 6:30. People just getting off work, going for bit. Arenas don't fill up to what, like 8 o'clock usually, do they, Cam?
Yeah.
The last 3 fights that they're busy for?
Yep, exactly.
So taking a snide picture like that and sending it to Eddie Hearn like you're on a winning team. Pathetic.
No, but like I said, like, it's okay being a fanboy of a boxer because, you know, you follow their careers and all that, but being a fanboy of a promoter, man, you need to get a life.
Oh, it's just so weird, man. So weird.
All right, I'm done for the night. You guys got anything else? Neota, done? Anything else?
Well, it looks like breaking news that Aaron believes Salido or Flanagan is next for Lomachenko. So it looks like some of the predictions we were making on the show have possibly come to fruition.
If it's in Manchester,
or may
Leon,
possibly be coming to fruition.
I'll see you here, Leon.
Yep, definitely. If he comes over, I'm going to that.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
Dan, you got anything for us?
Let me see.
That was a big sigh. Was it like a disappointing sigh or just like a tired sigh?
No, I don't know if I can reveal this information to you guys, but I have really sensitive information. I just hit up a couple of, and I've talked to some really high-level sources, and we had some good conversations, but I'll just leave it at that. And then next Monday, and I'll cut a little bit of it. Just keep listening to our show, guys. You know, I'm really into this boxing game now. So I'm gonna have some really high-level tidbits for you guys. So keep tuning in. Just stay tuned. There's gonna be a lot of high-level stuff that's gonna come out of this program.
Exclusives.
Excellent, man. We can't wait to hear.
You know what it is? I think the reason why I'm acting like such a moron today,
today.
It's like
exactly.
Now you can attest to this, but I have a couple of days off from work, so I'm in LA right now, and it's really fucking hot. And I'm at the DMV waiting for my registration, and like this heat just has gotten into my head, man. And I don't know what's going on, but anyways, good show, guys. Good to have everyone on. Man, let's keep it going.
All right, thank you, Dan. Neota, Leon, thank you as well. Kimo for jumping in.
Real quick, for anybody interested, any of our listeners, Koki Kameda, former Japanese bantamweight, light flyweight champion, is offering $90,000 if you think you can beat him. So I encourage you, if you're less than 154 pounds and 5 feet 8 inches, to challenge Mr. Koki Kameda, and you may be able to win yourself $90,000.
Yo, Neota, can we send you over? Can you make the weight?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, easy work then, man.
Easy work.
Coalition,
man.
Coalition Promotions.
I may have to slouch a little bit though.
Hey, I heard Miguel Cotto is gonna fight the guy that Robert Guerrero fought twice.
Kameda.
Kamagai?
Kamagai.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! So Kamagai is gonna fight just people for random, and then fight Miguel Cotto afterwards. Is that right?
No. I was talking about
different dude.
Koki Kameda, not Yoshihiro Kameda. Two different guys.
Silly racist joke. Sorry.
Jason 268 in the chat said we're slacking because we've not mentioned Adonis ducking Shawnee Monahan to fight from Faro for the rematch. I don't know.
That fight
I don't want to talk about him.
That fight has to materialize, man. That's a super fight in a couple of years, man. So
he's a superstar.
You got to promote. Yeah, he's a superstar.
He's the worst. Let's not talk about him.
Right.
Yeah, I know. No, that's more on Adonis, man. Fuck it. It would have been good for Shawnee to get a big fight, obviously, fighting in there's a new like stadium that they built in Long Island in New York. So that would have been a good fight for him, man. A good payday, but fuck it, man. Anytime you talk about Adonis Stevenson, it's not even worth discussing it. Man.
No, I agree. I just feel a bit bad for Shawnee in the sense that he's got this fight lined up. Adonis didn't sign the contract, and now basically he had a payday, he had like a biggish fight, and basically now he's got nothing, which is that is a bit the fucked up part about boxing, where you promise shit, but it doesn't materialize.
Yeah, Adonis has fucked him. Adonis has fucked him, but
Yeah, but even then, like obviously I would have picked Adonis in that fight, but regardless, I would have still taken an L. Or, a record.
I mean, that's the payday, man. That's the payday. That's what most fighters that probably have a very outside possibility of becoming like a world champion. They're fighting for that payday. That's what they're most figure. Go ahead. Most
people have an outside chance of even making that kind of money that Shawnee would have made against Adonis. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, let me even put it like this: there's guys who are fucking world champions that wouldn't have made as much money as Shawnee would have made against Adonis Stevenson.
Very true. Cesar Ket made $75,000 against Choco. So.
Exactly, and I'm sure if you talk about if you ask that guy 10 years from now, would you have gotten that belt, or would you rather have made 10 times that amount of money? It all boils down to kind of what you prefer. So. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's it. That's all I got for you, Cam.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Neota. Thank you, Leon. Good to have Kimo on the show as well. Thanks to all the people in the chat. I'll give a quick shout. We got Nothing for Something, Pinhead 360, Guido Colombo, BRD Hey, Jason 268, Tony Yayo, Beast Mode, Danny Yankee, Nunez 83, Mr. Fix, Loma Usyk Klitschko, Supermaster, Shams 1000, Bill Bones 101, Jas, Tico, Kevlar, Mr. Dermo, T-Rex Boxer, Mongol Sled, and 7 guests. Thank you, guys.
T-Rex Boxer.
Yep, those short arms, man.
Anyways, Pacquiao Horn is official, guys. You guys want to fly out for that fight?
I don't even want to talk about the fight. Never mind, fly out for it.
Australia, man. Gotta visit the Outback.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We're fucking chin check a kangaroo or two. Get on Instagram.
Okay, thanks to all the people that download the show week in, week out. We'll be back next week. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
I did, and I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burn you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
It feels great.
Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate.
You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side? But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weigh for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition. We are live every Monday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. UK time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern.